Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, good people. Try to keep that, yeah, okay. All right, good peoples. We are open on, we appreciate those that are viewing online, even though I think I'm the only one watching so far. They'll catch the memo in the short. But do we have any questions today? Yep, I know you said you had some concerning the class. We're going to get you. Go ahead.
From my understanding, the word Christian came from the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
So we really should not call ourselves Christians, correct?
Well, I get that. The word Christians, or I think it said we first called Christians in Antioch. And we'll look at that. I'm sorry, just give me a quick second. And a lot of people don't like that term that are Hebrews. But actually all Christian is saying is that you are a follower of Christ. And that's what they were saying. And in today's time period, yeah, Acts chapter 11, and we're going to look at the 26. That's what's more important that I want us to see is the 26. But, and yeah, we're going to look at all these. Let's go to Acts chapter 11. So, let's see what she's talking about first. Acts chapter 11, and let's pick it up at 26. and it's the term, I'm sorry, and it's the term Christian. You know, like, what, you know, I don't want to be a Christian. Christian means Christ-like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that, but the Romans did create it because they were slaughtering Christians.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were followers of Christ, but Rome actually came up with that.
Absolutely. But thank you for getting that mic. Which one are you on over there? It is. Yeah, it is. Try now.
You hear me? Test.
I mean, it's all the way on up here.
Now I hear.
Test.
Yeah, but and so I'm comprehending where you're coming from. But the thing is, if we were called Hebrew Israelites, you know, if we wanted to be called Hebrew Israelite, we didn't give us that either.
I know, because both words aren't together. They're separate.
Yeah. I mean, so at some point, pretty much, the narrative is we're the slave. So it's like, well, what you want to call yourself? A black man? Well, we do call ourselves black men, but you're not that. We call ourselves, the Afro-American. We weren't that either. We called ourselves the Negro. We weren't that either. We called ourselves all these things because that's what really was acceptable to the society, to call a group of people that y'all don't want to recognize for who they really are. Now, when we say Christian, let's see what the Bible says here on that. Acts chapter 11, and let's pick it up at verse 20. Where do we want to start? Let's try 24.
24? All right.
Mm-hmm.
For he was a good man and full of the Holy Ghost and of faith, and much people was added unto the Lord. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul. And when he had found him, he brought him to Antioch.
Yes, sir.
And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So we see here that the disciples are first being called Christians at Antioch. So to identify with a Christian is really to identify with the disciples. That's what they were called. Yeah, okay, well, you might say, well, even if it was the devil that was calling them that, it doesn't really matter. That's what they were being called, if that makes sense. Meaning, it's kind of like if the devil don't like you and he like, oh, you Christians. Like, that's not necessarily, oh, I don't want to be called Christian because the devil don't like me and call me that. Like he's saying that almost like because he don't like me, because we act like Christ. So that's where it's coming from. But let's read a little more on this.
Because I'm thinking,
Yeah, they
You
can hear you online.
gotta hear you
Sorry.
online.
Yeah.
right, I'm thinking it's easier, and I'm going back to Rome. It was easier for Rome to identify these people that they wanted to kill because anyone who followed Christ was considered a Christian, whereas Hebrew or Israelite, it's probably was a lot harder to identify them as being followers of Christ
I
because
agree
that
with-
was a nationality. So
Yeah,
to speak.
I agree with that to the extent of the letter. Meaning, if I'm going to tag Christian on my arm, or if I'm going to tag Israelite on my arm.
Right.
Because if I'm going around killing people, I'm not killing them based off of what I think they are. I'm killing them based off of what somebody's telling me they are. So it doesn't matter if it's a room full of Israelites and we all saying, well, we're Israelites. That room, everybody. So Romans gave for the people that they were going to kill, but either way, it still means that you're Christ-like.
Okay.
That's all it really means. Now let's look at another passage here, Acts chapter 28, I think it was, 26. Acts chapter 26, and it's on the same subject. So now we're going to see King Agrippa, and he's going to make a statement here. Paul is talking to him, telling him about how he got to where he is in front of King Agrippa's face.
The Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me.
Go ahead.
Having therefore
It's
obtained,
Paul talking. Go ahead.
having therefore obtained help of God, I continued unto this day, witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things that those which the prophets
prophet,
and Moses did say should come.
Go ahead.
That Christ should suffer and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles.
Go ahead.
And as he thus spake for himself with a voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learning doth make thee mad.
He's like, Paul, you tripping, man. All this learning you've been doing, you going crazy. Go ahead.
But he said, I am not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness. For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner.
Go ahead.
King Agrippa, believest thou, King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets?
So he asking him a question. He's like, King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? Go ahead.
I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
So now he's talking to Paul, and he's like, shoot, the way you broke this story down, and if you read the story, it almost reads like a play. He's like, you almost persuaded me to be a Christian. Okay? So then watch now. Here's the catch. Let's see how Paul responds to that. Does he respond negatively or what? Go ahead.
And Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day.
See, he say not only you become a Christian, that's what he's talking about, but everybody that heard me this day. So he didn't knock the term when he heard the term. He just, was like, hey, he embraced the term. Go ahead.
Were both almost and altogether such as I am.
See, so he say, then Agrippa said, verse 28, unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day, were both most almost and altogether such as I, except these bonds. So he's like, I wish everybody was like me. So he's really saying he's Christian.
But he said almost.
Right. He says, and Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, not only you, Agrippa, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I. So he said, I wish that all these people whereas I am, except these, because he like, I don't want you to be locked up like me. You know what I'm saying? But anything else, I want you to be like me, but not to be locked up. And he says that. You had something you want to add on that? Huh? Oh. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor and Bernice, and they that sat with them. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, "This man doeth nothing wrong worthy of death or of bonds." Then said Agrippa unto Festus, "This man have been set at liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar," because he was a Roman citizen. So he was like, "Well, y'all can't hold me. Send me to Caesar." You know what I mean? Like this. So Agrippa, like, I would have let him go if he wouldn't have been asking to go see Caesar now. But the moral of that whole story is Paul embraced that term. So, and it's just like, I'm gonna tell you even better. It's just like us embracing, and we have, most of us, Hebrew Israelite. See, when I got into the word, Hebrew Israelite wasn't really a good term. When you say Hebrew Israelite, I remember telling Celia, that's the lady, she was older than I was. And we worked at a store together, at a little gas station down in South Georgia. And when I told her, you know, this was like December of '96, and I'm like, yeah, I'm checking out the Hebrew Israelites. My mom a Hebrew Israelite. You know, I'm thinking, and she was like, yeah, I used to be a Hebrew Israelite. And she was like, I was down in Florida. That's Yahweh ben Yahweh. And she went through the whole spiel. See, so now, Hebrew Israelite, now, I don't want to tell nobody I'm about Hebrew Israelite now. You see, because of what this dude done did. So it took me some time to embrace Hebrew. So at some point you have to, you know, it's just like with Paul. Yeah, maybe at first the initial contact, oh, well, you know, Christian may have been a derogatory term, but at the same time, if that's what they're calling you and it identifies you serving Christ, then obviously he embraced it instead of kicking against it so much. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, and it's a scripture, and I'm gonna find it real quick. It's not gonna take really no time. But you gotta learn to be all things to all people, and you gotta pick your times when you want to be this or that. Like when I'm at work, I'm Christian.
Right.
They had to identify. My boss had to say, so you like Amari Stoudemire, which is a celebrity. We know sports. He's a celebrity basketball player who has started to embrace some traditions and customs of Israel. Mm-hmm. And by the way, he's baptized by Bowie. So yeah, I know, right? But he kind of a little different still because of the life that he's exposed to. Right. He's seen more than us. So he's been over there. He did a whole year playing basketball over there. Oh, yeah. Right. So the point I'm making that, but since he ain't did nothing stupid, now that I already told you I'm Christian, I'm like, yeah, like Amari Stoudemire. You know what I mean? So because I'm being what I need to be to you. Now, if I'm talking to the Muslims, I probably would never tell them I'm Christian. Because what's in their head of what Christian is ain't me. Okay. So, or sometimes, like if I'm talking to my family, I am a Bible Christian. Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I identify with what the Bible say. Go ahead, Brother Paul, real quick.
Brother Jedaiah, so what you were saying was like talking to the Muslims and not telling them that you are a Christian. It's kind of like you would be a stumbling block if you kind of told them that you were a Christian, or that would probably
you know what?
make them not want to come.
I wouldn't go that far as to say a stumbling block. Okay. What I'm saying to them is, because I'm still be rocking the Bible. I'm trying to identify with you that I'm not your typical Christian that you identify Christianity with. Because they kick against the Sunday traditional church as well.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, no, I would tell them, no, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Because I know how Muslims function. I want you to respect what I'm on. You ain't respecting that Christianity crap.
Yeah.
You gonna respect me though when I hold this conversation that I'm far more. Now you got to figure out what variant of Hebrew Israelite am I? You see what I'm saying? Because now but what you will find out, I'm the Christian kind. God. You see what I'm saying? But I'm trying to find the scripture real quick where Paul says,
that's what I'm looking for.
He all things to all people. You say you did? If I didn't use this phone, I'll probably find it faster. I think it's in Corinthians. Again, let me see. Hold on, but I'm gonna find it. Give me one quick second. Therefore, I almost know where it is and feel bad that I'm looking it up on here. Huh? You might be right. Let me see.
So I was just up there.
Yep, that's it. Thank you. 1 Corinthians 9. So here's something. Here's something that you have to kind of, you got to pick what you want to be, when you want to be, and how. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you go to work, you might not tell these people you none of this stuff. I just study the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, it just depends on it's like the Lord said, be wise as serpent, harmless as dove.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it might be a day when I'm kicking against the Christians. The whole day. Like, no, I'm not Christian like that. See, I'm not even gonna say I'm not Christian, but I'm not Christian like that. I don't do none of it. I don't celebrate this, I don't celebrate that. I don't go to church on Sunday. I'm not Christian like them folks over there. Yeah. So it depend on the level of the conversation, who I'm talking to. Right. But like the Mormons and some of these other Gentile faiths where these people, especially Gentiles, I really stay away from being a Hebrew Israelite because it sounds radical. It sounds scary. It sounds like I'm a racist like the KKK. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want you to fear me. See, you have to understand that a Gentile pretty much, when they see that a black man has some type of sense, some type of education that's superior to theirs, now they're more afraid than anything else. I don't need you, or like the guy on my job, super amazed. He can't believe it. You know what I'm saying? No, he can't. He can't believe that there's somebody that could know this much Bible. Right. And I'm like, man, this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I use my wisdom when I deal with certain people. But like I said, to a Gentile, Hebrew Israelite probably would never come out. I will always be Christian to them.
Well, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And know who I'm talking to and know who my audience is. But
Right.
I was thinking, is there something wrong with that?
No.
Am I being dishonest? Or,
No. Jesus said, be wise as serpents, harmless as dove. I mean, are you a Christian? Sure. Are you Hebrew Israelite? Sure. Are you just a man? Sure. I'm a servant of God. I'm just trying to get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make it over to the kingdom. You can call me what you want. You know, I'm sure I've been called far worse things. But let's pick this up at 1 Corinthians 9, and let's start at verse 15.
But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity it is laid upon me. Yea, woe is me if I preach not the gospel.
So I like how he said that, because I feel him. He's like, yeah, though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. It's woe is me if I don't preach it. Like, how can I not do it? You know what I'm saying? But I gotta go out here and preach this gospel. That's all. That's what I am. And it ain't like I'm walking around work. Hey, y'all know I'm preaching. Matter of fact, I caught myself the other day. Me and my boss was talking, and he made some statement, and my response was, yeah, I manage more people than that. And then I thought about it like, don't say that no more. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that it wasn't a true statement, but I ain't even trying to, you ain't got to know about none of this over here. You know what I'm saying? What I do, what we are, like how we was talking, people see you, they don't realize that you far more than the room and the company you sit in. We thousands strong. You ain't got to know none of that. You don't have to worry about none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, Jedaiah deal with New York and this and that. Like, man, look here, man. I come to work. I'll be here at 7 in the morning. I'll be off at 3. You know what I'm saying? I had to think of that in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't need you to see me no more than your worker right now. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I come in, I work, you know. So he say, but I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be done so unto me. For it were better for me to die than, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is me if I preach not the gospel. Verse 17.
For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward.
Right. He's
But-
like, if I'm going to do this willingly, I get my reward. So I don't need nothing from nobody else.
That's right.
Go ahead.
But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me.
Yeah, I'm going to get my part in that too. Keep going.
What is my reward then? Verily that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more.
So follow what he's saying. He like, technically, I'm free from all, I don't owe nobody nothing. The fear is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing, I don't owe you nothing. But yet the same, I'm servant to you. This is what Paul is saying. This is what the preachers are saying. This is what Elijah is saying. This is why when you call Elijah at 2 in the morning, he's answering the phone if he can hear it. You know what I mean? Because even though I don't owe you nothing, I'm free. Yet I'm servant to you. What you need? Go ahead.
Verse 20. And unto the Jews, I became a Jew.
Now, see what he's saying here? To the Jew, hey, I became a Jew, if that's what I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's how we need to get down and relate, like if I'm in the midst of a whole bunch of black Hebrew Israelites, I'm black Hebrew Israelite too, as well. I can go through all the science of it. Go ahead.
That I might gain the Jews.
All right. I'm gonna say shalom as much as I hate it. You know what I usually do when people say shalom to me? Peace. Right, but see, they looking for that shalom as of some type of special handshake. You know how the Arabs might say assalamu alaikum. You know what I'm saying? Then you respond back salaikum salam. Like so, the Hebrews, they want that response back as like on that same level. And see, me knowing what it means, I don't even give you that satisfaction because you ain't gotta be them. Why you gotta be? They doing that because they trying to be what the Muslim is. I'm like, nah, we ain't trying to be them. I'm just trying to be me, another man. See, Hebrews like to take themselves out of the realm of mankind as if it's like, okay, mankind and then us. We're God's chosen special people. Like, nah, we all mankind. And you chosen to preach the gospel to the rest of mankind. So he says, for though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. Verse 20.
And of the Jews I became a Jew, that I might gain the Jews.
Go ahead.
To them that are under the law, as under the law.
Right, so he's like, to those that are under the law, he got on their level. You know what I mean? When you say under the law, really, to those that's walking around here trying to justify themselves by the law, then he like, hey, I'm dealing with it that way then. Let's deal with what the book say. Which is really, he's still really talking about his Hebrews. But go ahead.
That I may gain them that are under the law. To them that are without.
So he's talking about the Gentile now. To them that don't have no law. Go ahead.
As without law. Being not without law to God, under the law to Christ.
Right.
That I might gain them that are without law.
Go ahead.
To the weak I became as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some.
Right. So notice what he said. Look, I'm going to be what I need to be. I need to be Christian, I'll be Christian. I need to be Hebrew, it doesn't really matter. It ain't about me. I'm free from all that. You know what I mean? So me being free from all that means I can be a servant to whatever I need to be. So look, I got this Hebrew shirt, the Hebrew shirts we got, right? So, I go to work the other day and we having lunch now. And we done took our shower and I'm like, man, I gotta walk in here with this dang on Hebrew shirt. Because we about to go into the conference room. And really, like, and it's not afraid, I'm not afraid of, I'm not afraid to, I ain't no Hebrew to y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I go to church on Saturday. It's not that, I'm not a Hebrew to y'all. I don't even want to identify with Hebrew for y'all. I don't want you to walk back to the back of that shirt and see it, because I'm not trying to disinclude you guys. I want you to feel welcome, warm. I'm a nice guy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear the tank top. Straight up, I just wore the tank top there, and then when I got to the car, I don't even think I wore it until I got to where I ended up going that day, because I had on the tank top under my clothes. Because you might say, well, Jedaiah, you was being afraid. No, I'm not ashamed of being a Hebrew Israelite, but that's not how I'm going to win y'all. I don't need you Googling. You didn't already Google my name when I told you I taught a class. I don't need you Googling Hebrew Israelites and you never find me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to find what we do when you Google that.
Or you'll find more radical Hebrew.
That's why I said you never find me.
Yeah, right.
Because what you do find is some other stuff. Mm-hmm. You find that comforter guy up in New York. You find, Yahweh ben Yahweh. You find everything but me. You never find me. I don't need that. So, therefore, I don't want to identify this T-shirt with me for y'all. Now, if I'm downtown preaching the gospel with y'all, sure, let's rock. When we had a picnic, sure, let's rock it. It's our church shirt. It's the only one, we don't have Israel Church of Jesus shirts. It ain't that I don't like being a Hebrew. I love it. It's cool. But it sends a certain type of statement. It sends the same type of statement as if I had on a shirt that said Christian. Wouldn't I take that shirt off sometime? Probably so. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I don't want to walk in this particular room and all y'all thinking, you about to tell me Merry Christmas now. You see what I'm saying? So you just got to learn to use wisdom, and you learn to be all things to all people. So he says, to the weak became I as weak, verse 22, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. Verse 23.
And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you.
So he said, I do all this for the gospel's sake. All my moves and actions is about the God. Like, I'm really trying hard to get this young boy to come. I want him to come. I want him to come talk to Tyler. That's really what I want to do, because Tyler needs somebody to talk to. And Dale, this dude is perfect for you. Y'all can sit there and trust me, y'all will talk all day. And I'm going to be in the corner somewhere laughing. But at the same time, right, so why am I going to make a move that knowing he ain't smart enough to comprehend, but he gonna think he is, so now he gonna go and try to investigate, and next thing you know, he gonna think we crazy. Nah, I got this. We gonna walk this with some wisdom. Mm-hmm. So he says, to the weak became I weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made, read that.
I am made all things to all men, that I by all means save some.
Right. Just so I can save some. Mm-hmm. I'll be what I need to be when I need to be. So if I need to be Christian, I'm Christian. You know what I mean? If I need to be Hebrew Israelite, if I need to be your brother, I'm just a brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to identify me. That's why I've been in situations where, I finished talking about the Bible and I'm telling them, I mean, I'm just another man trying to make it happen just like you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you to identify, because you ain't going to identify. I want you to know that a regular man came to you with all this information, not some church affiliate, not some theologian dude, no, somebody who one day started reading the Bible. You can too. So some days, that's all I am.
All I was going to say is I'm glad that when I read this part, because how the enemy try to get you sometime is, you want to identify, or at least I want to identify with being a Hebrew Israelite. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes it'll make you feel like, well, dag, if I don't profess this, then maybe I'm denying Christ. But you're seeing how Paul's saying I'm being everything. I can be everything to all men. You have to operate in wisdom with that. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe you don't need to say that you're a Hebrew Israelite, like the brother's saying, at this given situation in order to win somebody. I just wanted to bring that up, say that you're not denying Christ, because the devil likes to hone in on those things with you. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't say I'm an Israelite now, all of a sudden I'm denying Christ. No, that ain't the case. Just operate in wisdom. That's all. That's all I was saying.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I've been going back and forth with that for a while. So, yeah, you make it pretty clear.
Mm-hmm. Praise the Lord. Right, sis?
So, when I was coming up, so my father always told us we were Israelites. So the term Hebrew wasn't really, I guess, known or said or whatever, because we associated it with nationality. Mm-hmm. Because Every other people in this land, this world, has a nationality except one group of people, and that's us.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can say Russia, Italian, uh, Polish, Nigerian, black.
I know, right?
One don't belong. So I was glad, like it was embedded in me in Israelite, but I really didn't know anything until I came into the truth. My father passed when I was 12. So nationality, I think, is important. So if somebody asks me my nationality, I'm an Israelite. Now, where did Hebrew come in? How did Hebrew come in?
And from my research, from my research of the subject, and that's what you're saying is excellent. But even with that though, I play the game with that.
Right. Yeah.
Meaning, I'm gonna answer that question,
And
but
most times
meaning
I don't say nothing at work because it's just not.
I know, but then sometimes we in a situation where we do, or even I might even say, well, my ancestors from the Middle East. You know what I mean? Like it just depends, and you might think I'm joking, but if you want to really take the conversation there, we can run it all the way there. And see, I'm the type of person because of me that I'm able to be like, yeah, because I mean, we was on the west coast of Africa over there in Timbuktu. Now, first of all, I'm going so deep in history, you don't want to hear all that no more. Yeah, right. But it's my way of saying I know what I'm talking about. I don't think you want to argue, but I'm from Israel. Right. So I definitely, it just depends on the set of circumstances.
Right.
But I'm always going to shun just Black American or anything of that nature, right. Because I know that's like I'm talking about. And it's funny because Gentiles don't really have this conversation with you. No, they don't. If anything, you may bring it to them, right. Or who you find yourself with the conversation most in my world is the men who work at the gas stations, the Arabs, the Indians. These are the ones, and so now it's like it's easy. Like, no, we the Israelites, right. We the Hebrews. But absolutely, I would agree. That we are Israelites. Matter of fact, and I'm still gonna answer your question. Romans 9. Let's read this one right quick. Now, this term Hebrew Israelite really came from my studies, came more in the 70s as they started calling us Black Jews or the Black Israelites. And then like it's like kind of it came in the 70s in that movement of like the movement really with the Yahweh ben Yahwehs, the Ben Ami, like that generation of Hebrews. Because you know, the Hebrew Israelite move, like you can type up Hebrew Israelite now and you'll find, and it's gonna tell you, it's gonna give you the more archaic versions of what they were calling us in your 40s and your 50s. And it's just like anything else that deal with Black America. We always getting our name changed. You know what I'm saying? Like you, at one point you this, at one point, same thing, you know, with Israelite, Hebrew Israelite, you know, it was the Black Jews at one point, you know. So, but that's kind of how the Hebrew Israelite came about. Like, I don't know what one person, you know what I mean? I haven't read where one person was accredited to a starting Hebrew Israelite, but I know it came sometime in that late 70s, early 80s during that Ben Amin, Yahweh ben Yahweh time period. So we talking Israel of God exists at that point, to be honest with you. And not only does the Israel of God exist, Casey's still around. I'm sorry, Stern is still around. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think his teacher was Casey. He's still around at this point. So now you're looking at 3 generations of Israel. You understand? Or schools of thought on who Israel are. And I would dare to venture they probably all had some type of different name attached to them at one point. Y'all the Hebrews, y'all the Israelites, y'all the Black Jews, you know. So it's just interesting. It's the same thing as black. It's the same thing as being called a black man, Afro-American, color, whatever we done been called over the years. It's the same. It's the exact same thing. They just doing it to Hebrews.
Anything in the Bible?
Nope. I mean, really, in the Bible, the words don't mix. Hebrew Israelite ain't even in the Bible.
Right.
We Israelites. That's what I was just about to read here. Let's read this Romans 9 and 4 real quick.
who are Israelites.
And that's all we are. Like, and really, that's not a question. He's really answering a statement, although I tend to use it as both from teaching perspectives. But who are Israelites? Because he's going to answer the question here anyway. Go ahead.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
So Israelites, we've been the ones that's adopted. Go ahead.
And the glory.
Right, the glories belong to Israel. Go ahead.
And the covenant.
The covenants belong to Israel.
And the giving of the law.
Yes, sir.
And the service of God and the promises.
Right, so all this stuff, the service of God, the promises, everything belongs to Israel. Well, it wasn't given to Israel. It was given to Abraham first. You know what I mean? We're not walking around here calling ourselves Abrahamites. You know what I mean? Like,
Could Ishmael be considered a Hebrew?
absolutely.
Yes.
Ishmael is Hebrew. And so is the Edomite.
So the Edomites. Mhm.
Yeah.
So is the Edomite.
Didn't they call Abraham Hebrew? I'm going with this identifying with it. I forgot what addresses and they was like that Hebrew and they was pertaining to Abraham.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll look at some of that. We'll look at some of that. And Sister Sharice, we have not. I haven't forgotten you at all. So, who are Israelites? Verse 4 pertaining to adoption. Oh, verse 5.
Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, come Christ. Christ came.
Okay, so you know when you're talking about Israelites, Christ came through Israel. All the stuff that belonged to the Father is given to Israel, but Christ came to them. Now let's go to the book of Jonah. Jonah. Yep, Jonah. I just want to show you something about Israel here, and then we're going to go to Genesis. Let's go to Jonah. Jonah chapter 1.
Okay.
I think that's what we want. I'm almost positive. And yeah, Jonah 1, and we can start at verse 7.
All right, 1 second.
Jonah chapter 1 and verse 7. Jonah 1 and 7. So the statement was, wasn't Abraham a Hebrew? And the answer, we're going to prove that he was a Hebrew. First of all, Hebrew is a word that originates as the meaning a wanderer. Okay? So, you know, I'm not sure who all were Hebrews really. Meaning, is Abraham the first Hebrew? I doubt it. You know what I mean? But the Bible only gives that Abraham is the first Hebrew. But I mean, you saying he was the first wanderer? When you look at what the word means. So, but at some point, you become what you're called. You know, like at some point, that's what you become, like the word nigga. Like at some point, they was calling us that, now that's how we act. Like seriously, like, you know, so at some point it was a word we call, you know, these men that got off. Really, at first the word started off as a color in itself. It meant black, Niger. Right. So it goes from Niger, you know, it's Negro, nigger. I mean, it's walking the path that way. So eventually we went from being that color, being called that color, to acting like a term. Mm-hmm. All right, now Jonah chapter 1, and let's pick it up at verse, what did I say, 7?
7.
All right, verse 7.
And they said, every one to his fellow, come, let us cast lots that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
Uh-huh.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah.
All right, so pay attention. We on Jonah's ark. We on the ark, and the boat going crazy. And they was like, we're going to see who while the boat going crazy. They cast lots. The lot came on Jonah. Go ahead.
Then said they unto him, tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil is upon us? What is thine occupation, and whence comest thou?
Uh-huh.
What is thy country, and of what people art thou?
So notice what he asked him. He said, what do you do? What's your country? What people are you? Now, you would think he going to say, I'm an Israelite. Watch what his answer is.
And he said unto them, I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, the God of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land. And then were the men exceedingly afraid.
So they knew who he was when he said, I'm a Hebrew. And they didn't mix him with the Arab or the Edomite or whomever. He was a Hebrew. So at some point, the children of Israel were just referred to as the Hebrews as well. I don't know exactly when. Now let's go back here to Genesis chapter, I think maybe 14. Was it 14? Yeah. And we'll see the first time Hebrew is mentioned in the Bible. Now, a friend of mine who, whenever y'all hear Elijah talking about a dude that taught a class so bad that he had to just shut it down. Yeah, well, he actually taught about this one time. And he made to proclaim that Eber was the first Hebrew. Now, here's the problem with that. You ain't got no way of proving that. Just because they look the same, don't make them the same thing. So the first time we see Hebrew in the Bible is Genesis 14, and we'll pick it up at verse 10. We'll start there.
Okay. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountains, and they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way, and they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, and the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram.
So this is our first time on a read on the Hebrews, when they call Abraham a Hebrew, okay? Now, I'm going to show you another thing about the Hebrews and the Egyptians. Like I said, the Egyptians say, well, the Hebrew midwives, they were lively. You know, they talking about, so this is the way Israel was identified. It's almost like we didn't get identified as Israelites till later. You know what I'm saying? We were initially identified as Hebrews. Because you got to understand, Abraham is identified as a Hebrew. His son's name is Jacob, that's changed to Israel. So that Israel part is the part that actually comes on later. But we know exists because we read in Romans 9 who are Israelites. So we know that they both there, but initially we started off as Hebrews. And the funny thing about it is, as much as we say Ishmael and Edom are Hebrews because they're sons of Abraham, I've never actually read them being called that. I've only read one group of people being called Hebrews, and that's us. Just something to think about. But let's go over here to Genesis 43. Genesis 43. We'll look at it one more time. Because the Egyptians knew that we were Hebrews. And the Egyptians dealt with the Arabs, and the Egyptians dealt with the Edomites. So they would say if it's a difference, they may have said Hebrew Israelite. You know, but they don't. So, you know, I sometimes wonder, when we say that those other nations are Hebrews, we saying it because they're sons of Abraham. But I'm just wondering, is it just our liberty to say it, and they were never thus called? You know, because we had the liberty to say it by our education. We like, yeah, they Hebrews because Abraham is Hebrew and you are what your father is. But we was called Hebrews for what reason? I don't know. So if that's the case, were they all called Hebrews? Did he call Ishmael a Hebrew? As a matter of fact, it said about Isaac, thy son, thine only son. So maybe Ishmael was never called a Hebrew. Then did it call the Edomite the Hebrew? Like Esau didn't get no inheritance. Maybe not. We never read that. That's all I'm saying. Genesis 43, and let's pick it up at verse. Let's just pick it up verse 30.
Okay. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves. Excuse me, y'all. For the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for it is an abomination unto the Hebrews.
Right. So, and to the Egyptians.
To the Egyptians, excuse me.
Right. So, the Hebrews, like the Egyptians, even though we the same color too, like they oftentimes they knew, and it was an abomination for them to deal with us, but it don't say they didn't deal with Ishmael. Matter of fact, when you look at Ishmael's origin, he part Egyptian. And so, and it never says that about Edom either. So, like I say, I don't really know where Hebrew come from. I mean, Hebrew Israelite come from. But I know that the fact of the matter is we were first called Hebrews, not Israelites. You know what I mean? Even though we identify Hebrew Israelite or Israelites as the son of Jacob, we can identify, and yes, these are what we would call our nationalities. And when I'm having that conversation, I try to put it out there best I can, but then it also depends on the set of circumstances. Is it always necessary? But I definitely don't just let you call me a black man and leave it at that, because you don't even know. Like, I'll take you over there without taking you over there. I'll be like, well, you know, we ain't really from here. Like, you know, we came from off the coast. Yeah, I know. I'm saying, but we were somewhere before the coast, though, right? Just like you was, right? You know what I'm saying? You can take you can go back, you can go back to being Greek, can't you? Macedonian or something, right? Well, I can go back to being the same people that the Bible is. And I really use it more like that. And then what I do is bring the Bible here. Like the people of the Bible are black. So instead of me saying that I'm somebody of the Bible, I just bring it to us. That all the people in the Bible are these people that's here in America, in South America, and so on and so forth, that's in oppression. But yeah, it's definitely a way of identifying our heritage. And one that I would, to an extent, not even be proud of being a Hebrew Israelite, but just thankful that I can acknowledge the fact that I am. And that I don't have to sit here and keep calling myself from Detroit. Because that's all we do. You know what I'm saying? Where you from? Now, I did it. I do it often, too, to Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you from? And, you know, they sometimes might be like, I'm from here or wherever. Then I'm like, no, but I'm saying, like, what is your family? And then immediately they, like, start, I'm this percent this and this percent that. And I be thinking, like, hey, you know the percent, too, huh? I'm like, wow, that's really nice. That's special. You know what I'm saying? All I know is I'm all black man from what you told me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so it's definitely good to be able to say, well, nah, you know, the people of the Bible, they us. And I can even tell you why we here. Sister Sharice? Oh, he want to get you tonight.
Okay. I'm going to try to make sense.
It's all good.
This is pertaining to your lesson.
Uh-huh.
There's two things that you said that kind of, I don't know if I didn't hear it right. When you're talking about the seals, and you mentioned the movie, and you made a mention that the movie is misrepresentation of the seals, that they're not nature, not natural things. So I wanted to explain that if that's not what it is, then what exactly is the seals? And you also said that I think you said the Antichrist is going to usher in peace.
He's going to come in peaceably, but okay.
And I wanted you to explain that because I didn't understand what you meant by what is he going to do, that's going to create peace. And I kind of get confused with the timeline of everything and when, this is happening and when that is happening. So I'm trying to put the pieces together to make a timeline for myself.
Very good. Not difficult questions at all. So we'll go to the peace part second. The first one was the seals. Okay. So let's go to Revelation chapter 6. And what I always thought about the seven seals was that they were the way the movies be showing. Like the movies, they always show like, the movie be dark and, it'd be awesome. Next thing you know, it'd be a whole bunch of locusts coming running through here and all the crops be gone. Like, that's not what Revelation 6 is. So we're going to start, and we're not even going to go into seal 7, because seal 7 is just the introduction of the trumpets. Matter of fact, we can do that. We can go there first. Let's go to Revelation 8 and 1. Revelation 8 and 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. And I saw 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it upon the with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne.
Go ahead.
And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake.
Go ahead.
And the 7 angels which had 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
So we see that the 7th seal really is opening up the trumpets. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 6. And we're going to use my friendly board here. And this might help us see it a little better. So, the seals really is the start of the Great Tribulation. And it's going to run you from the Great Tribulation really until we get to the coming of Jesus. But the problem is, we all thought Jesus come back in the 24-hour day at the last day. That's what we all thought. I did too. That one day he come back. But the reality is, we learn that Jesus comes back for a period of time. Now, here go the seals. If this is the last day, he come back somewhere here.
Yeah.
And he here for a minimum that we read 5 months. A minimum. Where is he? Somewhere up in the sky somewhere. Heavens roll back like a scroll, I'm here. But I always thought that when he got here, he just here and it's over. Nah, he gonna chill. Which strategically is so cool. Like it's so cool. The way he doing it is so much better than I always thought. All right, now, meantime, in between time, your seals sit through here, and we would say this is the start of your Great Tribulation, so you was inside a 3.5-year period, okay? So this is the coming of the Lord. Here's your 3.5 year. So go ahead and read Revelation chapter 6, verse 1.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw.
So here's the first seal. He saw what?
And behold, a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
So notice what's happening. He's saying the first thing I saw a horse with a man with a crown was given to his horse, and he went forth to conquer. So this is no natural nothing. This is just the Antichrist. He's the one that's conquering at the end. So the first seal, and now I'm gonna write them up here, but I'm not timelining them right here. Okay. So the first seal is the intro of the Antichrist. Okay. Now, seal number 2. Go ahead.
And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another.
Now, he said that when this dude come in, peace is taken from the earth, and we're going to be killing one another here. Peace from earth, and the earth going to be killing each other. Now, when we get back, earth killings. Now, when we get back to the Pope bringing in peace, we're not saying that he's going to be successful at stop bringing world peace, but that's his platform, that's his agenda. And we'll look at that, we'll read that in Daniel, okay? So seal number 2, peace gonna be taken from the earth, right? Ain't that what it said? Mm-hmm. All right. Verse 5. Or did you finish that
I
verse?
didn't finish it.
All right,
And they
go
should
ahead
kill
and
one another, and there was given unto him a great sword.
Okay, given unto who? This guy. He's the orchestrator of all this right now. So really, when he coming in, and that's why we're going to see, remember it said he coming in with all deceivableness and flattery. Well, we're going to read about him. So he really coming in with peace, but actually he bringing in problems. Mm-hmm. The Antichrist is. All right? So that's seal number 2. Let's go to seal number 3.
Verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see.
Uh-huh.
And I beheld, and lo, a black horse.
Uh-huh.
And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand.
Uh-huh.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Mm-hmm. And the 4th.
Okay, so number 3, basically now when it starts talking about 1 measure of wheat for a penny and barley for a penny, this dude gonna have control of our food, of our economy. I heard somebody that. Mm-hmm. He got control of our economy. That's the next seal. So it's not like the movie put something else out there. Yeah. Right, and that's what I'm saying. When I was on the movie, it had me all screwed up trying to really understand the seals at first.
Was red and
yeah, because I'm looking for stuff like that. And really, it's talking about something totally different. Yeah. It's talking about the Antichrist coming in. And really, so far, everything we're seeing really is right here. If you think about it, controlling of the economy, peace from the earth, killings. That start all over here somewhere once he gets in there. They make it seem like each seal got to be a certain amount of time or something. Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. That stuff got us jacked up in the head. Me too, though. I'm going to say I had to unlearn that stuff and realize, oh, you know how many times I said that? Go ahead, let's look at the 4th seal.
Mm-hmm. Verse 7. Mm-hmm. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard a voice of the 4th beast say, Come and see. Uh-huh. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. Yeah. And his name that sat on him was Death. Uh-huh. And hell followed with him. Uh-huh. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth.
So notice what he's saying on this seal. They killing the 4th part of the earth right now. Who is this guy?
One guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy here, the one who came in conquering. That's your four horses that you just saw there on each seal. That's what it is. Like, man, they had us so screwed. They had me so screwed up.
Yeah, it wasn't until Brother Elijah showed me, because I'm thinking that it was 4 different individuals with each horse, and he broke it down. Was like, no, it's one person.
Yeah,
but
it's him
basically
doing
getting
all
stronger
this. Yeah.
as he goes through. Yeah,
it's him doing all this each way.
Oh, well, I'm glad you just said that, because I just thought it was 4 people too.
No, it's just each one is a different. First of all, we got to remember
it's basically a different situation. It's not changing people. It's just him in different situations.
Right.
That was he saying.
See, what we got to realize again is this all John seeing. He see horse number 1, horse number 2, horse number 3, horse number 4.
Gotcha.
But now we're breaking down each horse. Gotcha. And really, they're bringing the next set of events.
Gotcha.
But all of it is from the Antichrist.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I should explain that better during class. It'd be hard. Y'all be surprised how hard it is to teach these lessons.
That's why you have question and answer.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yes, the seals are the number 1 is the intro to the Antichrist. And everything else from there on in the seals is what he's doing.
Right.
Right. Like that's all. It's just that simple. Seal number 1, Antichrist. 2, 3, and 4 so far is what the Antichrist is doing.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, sis.
See, the seals are him, and then the trumpets are the Lord. So is it like the Lord just like, I'm gonna do it better than you?
You can say that. Which will put you in the mind of Egypt, right? Well, at first, everything that the Lord did, the Egyptian did, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he couldn't duplicate it no more. It's the exact same thing.
Right.
The exact same thing. Even to the point that we off in Goshen in Egypt, here we in the wilderness. So it's the exact Same thing. And then when all of it is done, then he gonna bring the children of Israel back to the wilderness or get them out of Egypt. Either way, because remember, we returned to Egypt again on ships. Right. So this is the end of Egypt or the end of our bondage here, and he gonna take us back. It's all the same. Back to the wilderness and put us under a bond of a covenant. It is exactly the same thing. He showed us then what it is now. That's why when we taught the class, I say the two witnesses like Aaron and Moses, because it's the same thing going on. So that's why, who was it? Oh, Art was telling me, I'm not even gonna pick. But some people were saying Enoch some people at the Israel Church of Jesus were saying Enoch is dead. And Art was finding this out, and he was contending with that. And that's incorrect. Enoch, the scriptures say Enoch is not dead. So you have to understand something. God does things first so you can see it, to believe it. Enoch is the 8th from Adam. Because on the 8th day, that's when God gonna resurrect mankind forever. It's not that complicated. It's a reason why this dude is still who didn't taste death. Huh?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
You can see when you see the light come on.
Oh yeah.
You see it, you're like
yeah.
oh yeah, it's amazing to me. Yeah,
it
exactly.
is to me too, though.
Yeah,
but it's simple. That's the thing. The Bible is simple. God's done it before. He's gonna do it again. He shows it to you. So now, if you want to say, somebody try to say, well, the Lord gonna bring Mars to Earth. Show me that in the Old Testament. Show me some comparison to that.
Yeah.
Then you know that ain't true. That's why Jesus kept saying, don't let nobody deceive you. Because there's a way, and remember, the New Testament wasn't even written in. So there's a way for you to prove these things. So that's why, yes, everything that we're doing is just over, the same process over again. Let's look at the fifth seal real quick. Verse 9.
Verse 9, brother?
Uh-huh.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God.
Think about it. They getting killed for the word of God. Who dealing the killing? The Antichrist. Go ahead.
And for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?
Right.
And the white robes were given.
Okay, that's good, because he really done with that part of the conversation. All right. So basically, the seals, these are the things, and actually the sixth seal is Jesus starting to come back now. When you read the sixth seal, the earth's gonna quake. So really, what the seals are, when you look at 1 through 5, that's just the actions of the Pope or the Antichrist. Okay. All right, that's all that. That's all it is. Just that simple. All right. Now let's go to Daniel real quick. Is a different person than the Pope and the false? No, the Antichrist, the Pope, same thing. Go ahead, sis.
So you say the sixth seal is when Jesus comes back, and that's when is that when, like in Matthew 24, where it actually says, and then shall appear the sign of the.
Yeah, son. But see, here's what Matthew 24 does. Matthew 24 runs this event into one. Because he's saying, what's the sign? Think about what Matthew 24 does. Matthew 24 covers from 70 AD to the coming of the Lord.
Right.
So when it gets to the end of the Lord coming back, it just makes it sound like it's a single day almost. But the reality is, let's go ahead and read verse 12.
Okay.
Revelation 12. Revelation 12. Okay. We can get to that sixth seal. And to Israel's daughter, which, I better answer this now. So the Antichrist is a different person than the Pope and the false prophet. No. Now, here's the thing about that. An Antichrist is anybody who's Antichrist. And let me run to that scripture real quick. It's in I think it's in 1 John. So everybody hold your spot here. And little children is the last time, as many have heard, the Antichrist shall come. And even now there are, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 18. So we're going to go here first. I'm sorry, we had a question online pertaining to this. You know how somebody it's kind of like they in our conversation with us. And so she was saying, so the Antichrist is somebody different? And the answer is, let's define Antichrist. Antichrist is when you're against Christ. There are many Antichrists. Okay? Now, the Antichrist, like we like to say, or the Pope or the false prophet, shows up here at this time period. Was there an Antichrist before him? Absolutely. Many. Now let's read verse 18. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 18.
1 John.
I'm sorry. 1
2.
John chapter 2 and verse 18. And when you get there, go ahead.
Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists.
See, so he's saying that Antichrist should come. He said, but even now there are many Antichrists. And that's the same thing today. This Antichrist is going to come, but there are many Antichrists. Anybody who's against, go ahead, read a little more.
Whereby we know that it is the last time. They went out from us, but they were not all.
See, now he's talking about the Antichrist, how it's many. He said it's some that came from us. Go ahead.
For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things.
Go ahead.
I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar, but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist, that denieth the Father and the Son.
So when you denying that Godhead, that make you an Antichrist. Don't matter who, when, where. But the Pope, which I might want to put this up here, the Pope or the Antichrist, in this case, we like to say he's the Antichrist. Like he's the one. Because he's the one, and yes, he is also the false prophet that is spoken of, that we read at the end of the class today. All right.
So would Muslims fall under that?
Yeah. Y'all gotta look. We got people in the party with us. Y'all gotta get on the mic. The people on the party cannot hear. I know. Where's Jose? What happened to Jose? You got the mic.
I have the mic.
Where's Tyler? There go Tyler. Yeah, I know we got one of these young, capable brothers of passing the mic. But she go back to Sister Stephanie. Then we'll go. No,
Sister
go back to Sister Stephanie.
Sister Stephanie.
I know. I was
Yes.
just then go to Sister Jones. Right. Then you can go to Joan with the mic. But go ahead, sis.
No
I
sleep, no
said
broken.
so. Then Muslims would come under that classification
Absolutely.
as being Antichrist.
Absolutely. Yes. The Muslim
They
would
believe he was a prophet, but they don't believe he was the Messiah.
Exactly. Yes. So they would be Antichrist. Absolutely.
23.
Where you at? Oh, yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
The same as the beast when they're talking about the Antichrist, the false prophet, and then they say the beast. I know he's a military leader, but why are they calling him the beast?
You referring to the
Yes.
in Revelation 19?
Yes.
When they say the beast and the false prophet?
Yes.
Because they're calling him the beast because the beast was introduced in Revelation 13 as the government. It was what when we put together the pieces from Daniel, that made the beast. So you have two factions of the beast. You have the government, the military, and all that, and then you got the religious. So that's why when it's saying the beast, it's referring to the government, and then when it's that false prophet, it's referring to that individual man.
Thank you. Those two are going to be cast into the lake of fire first.
Correct. Yep. Let me see. So let's finish this up here. We got any more questions before we go on this particular moment? Like what we talk? Okay. All right. Because we still got to go back to Daniel to cover the other part of your question. But let's finish this up here. Whosoever denieth the Son, the same have not the Father. Oh no, we don't have to read that. All right. So let's go over here to Daniel, chapter 11. Tyler. You better get you some help, bro. Go find my son. Go find Nashawn.
Unbelievable.
Man, we'll put him to work. Cause Tyler want to go to sleep like he work every day. We go find somebody else who don't work every day. But go ahead, sis.
I'm just wondering, since the sixth seal, Jesus is going to be up in the sky for 5 months.
A minimum.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with the 5 events.
No, I understand.
Okay.
Right, I understand. No, and I say a minimum because we've only in one spot in Revelation, we're giving an amount of time for something. So since, therefore, we know at least 5 months, but it could be 6 months, could be 7 months, yeah. No, I wouldn't think so. I understand why you're saying that though, but see, that doesn't give the Antichrist much time for a great tribulation. Now, Sean, we need you to pass the mic around to the in-house people that have questions or statements.
But all these seals, Brother Jedaiah, the seals and the trumpets / vials is 3.5 years, or just the 5 months is just for the seals, 3.5 years.
Okay, I got what you're saying. And okay, so let's keep going. Let's go back to Revelation. Make sure we 100% clear on this. So let's go back to Revelation, and we're gonna go to chapter 6, and we're gonna start it at 12. So the seal started. Number 1 starts here at the Great Tribulation period. The Great Tribulation, we know, is 3.5 years. Inside this 3.5 year period, the Lord will come back and chill out in the sky while the Great Tribulation is going on, while all of this is going on. And he will begin, once he returns, to blow his trumpets and bring his wrath, because basically now we have a collision of the dragon and God and Michael and all that. It's the same war that's been going on. Now it's climaxing. It's going to peak here. It's climaxing because we're going to get the six trumpets Armageddon. That's the showdown at the hoedown. So you see, so it's like it's all taking you to here. All right? These bugs getting on your nerves too.
What? All right.
So, okay, so let's go ahead. Revelation 6 and 12, and I'm gonna try to show it as he reads it up here. Where are we, or close to where are we? Go ahead.
And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
See, really, we somewhere around here. But I'm going to show you why I don't want to put us at the 5 month yet. Exactly. I thought I had another marker. Okay, well, we're going to use black anyway. We somewhere actually around here when we at this, what seal is it? 6th seal.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is, because we don't read 5 months until we get into the actual trumpets. So let's get into the trumpets real quick, okay? And the 6th seal, remember, the heavens roll back like a scroll, so on and so forth. So let's get into the trumpets. So let's go to Revelation chapter 8 and pick it up at verse 1.
And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was a silence of heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw.
So we're not going. Don't do this, y'all. Don't put that half an hour up here. Don't try to calculate, because some people, I done did it. That's why I say don't do it. Some people be trying to say, so 1,000 years to man is a day to the Lord. So how do I get a space of a half an hour? Like he's just saying for a space of time is all he's saying. Okay, go ahead.
I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke.
The only reason I make us read all this is because I want us to know that we ain't missed nothing. But let's just go ahead and jump to verse 6, please.
All right. And the 7 angels which had 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
So this is from the 7th seal. It produced so the actual 7th seal brought forth, Because you got to remember, he's looking up at the heavens, and there was a book with seals in it. So when he got to this page 7, the 7th seal, now it's really introducing the trumpets. So it wasn't something that happened. It was the trumpets that happened now. Because in my mind, I was thinking each seal was something that happened. But I began to learn later, the seals are the events that the Pope and the Antichrist bring until we get to the 6th and 7th seal. Seal number 6 was the heavens open up. Seal number 7 is the trumpets now being blown. Okay? Now, so let's go to the trumpets. Go ahead.
Verse 7.
Verse 7, thank you.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood.
See, now we somewhere over here, but it's God doing all this. We somewhere here, closer to the end of the Great Tribulation period. Okay? Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. We're not going to go through each trumpet. We don't have to do that. We did that earlier. But we're going to go to Revelation chapter 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Here is when we are, this trumpet, Revelation 9, is trumpet number 5. This is when we're here. Trump 5. That's when we're here at this 5-month period. So the 6th seal is here. The 7th seal, oddly enough, is somewhere here because the 7th seal was the trumpets being blown. And really, trumpets 1 through 4 happen, I don't know if they're a day, a week, a month. That ain't really, like I don't really go that, I can't go that deep into it. I just know trumpet 1, hail and fire mingled with blood. Trumpet 2, the third part of the sea became blood. Trumpet 3, you know, some star wormwood from heaven and the waters died. That could have happened in 2 days. You see, but 6th seal was here. 7th trump, or 7th seal, which introduces the trumps here. Now we're gonna see that the 5th trump. Now we got 5 months left. You follow me? And we're gonna read why, because it's gonna tell us that. So go ahead, Revelation 9, and pick it up at verse 1.
And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their forehead. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months.
See? 5 months. We here now. You know what I'm saying? This is where we got a time date. This is the only fragment of time that we have inside this Great Tribulation period. And where are we right now? We're on the fifth trumpet?
5th trumpet.
That's where we are right now. So we know that when the 5th trumpet comes, it's going to be 5 months worth of torment on these men. Okay? So hopefully that help us see the seals and the trumpets a little more clear. Nashan? Oh.
So really,
Sis.
3.5. So really, 3.5 years, it's all over before he come, before he actually show up.
No.
Okay.
But that I understand more like 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
And then we still got a half of a year in which is going to be this 5th trumpet that we see inside that half of the year before the Lord. This is the end date.
That's the end date.
That's the end date.
Wow.
Right. So we got a 5-month period of them doing some junk. Because when we get to the 6th trump, the 6th trump is the Euphrates opening, stuff like that. That stuff happened after the 5th trump. And then the 7th trump is the coming of the Lord.
Gotcha.
Or, excuse me. See, we say that wrong, and that's what throws us. The 7th trump actually is the resurrection. That's what the 7th trump is. Because really the Lord back. But he ain't back on the earth like he said in Zechariah 14 when he stepped foot on Mount Olive. He up there in the sky where we can see him. So he's back here, But he doesn't take the earth and step foot on Mount Olives to here, which in the lesson I had Zechariah 14 in my notes to kind of finish that, and I didn't today.
Okay, and so that line you have drawn on the end is 3.5.
Yes, this is the end of the 3.5 year period here.
But
yes.
there's a little bit of more event that happens
That is
after
correct.
that.
That is correct. Where the Lord is going to deal with Edom at that point.
Gotcha.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, I had to write that out somewhere, so.
But actually, that's why I was going to help us, because see, we still, oh no, I erased it. Oh, sorry, that's something else.
Yeah.
Wow. Deshaun, get the mic.
Thank you.
And we'll go here and then to Sister Well, okay, we can go to Sister Sylvia. Go ahead, Deshaun, you got it. Go ahead, Sister Sylvia.
So the 5 months, even though 1,000 years is a day to the Lord, is it actually 5 months for him as well, or is it just?
Very good question. Yes, it would be 5 months to us, because you got to realize, first of all, if it was 5 months to God, I mean, right, just think of how, it ain't gonna never happen.
So he's in that same mind, like,
no, this is John writing this.
Right, but
This
the
is
Lord
John. This is John. Yeah, you get it? Like when we say this is John, we saying this is all man. God time ain't got nothing to do with this.
Okay.
This all, John is writing this. He's seeing the vision. So John said 5 months, and it's 5 months. It's 5 months to John.
I'm just wondering what it was like to the Lord then, since he.
Oh no, it's I don't know. It's a snap of a finger. Like I get what your question is, but now what we would have to do is get real mathematical and try to break down what 1,000 years is and how that's a day to God. So what is a minute, or what is a day to man to God? Yeah. What type of, but really though, time don't exist with God.
Right. Okay.
So it's not for. How did we got all these dang on bugs in here? Yeah, it's not really for God.
He just made that for us, like just to.
For we can have a way of tracking.
Okay.
I was about to say, don't he call it the hour of temptation?
Nah.
No.
I hope I'm not way off of
what
we're discussing, but in Revelations 12 and verse 15, you talked about that earlier today, and that's about, can you read 15, Revelations 12 and 15?
Go ahead.
And the serpent, Revelations 12 and 15, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time that the Antichrist is putting his, those seals are opening up, the children of Israel are going to be attacked by, the Most High is going to cover, God is going to cover the children that are chosen and following his commandments. They're the ones that's going to be going over, and is it an army that's coming after them? If I'm saying it right.
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you look at verse 13, it said, when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly to the wilderness into her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half of times from the face of the serpent. So the woman gets nourished through this whole time period, the wilderness. We're in the wilderness this whole time. Then it says, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And I don't know the answer to that question. Is he sending somebody chasing us to the wilderness, or is that something that's naturally happening on the actual earth? I don't really know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because I was thinking maybe it was like when the Most High, or God, delivered the Israelites from Egypt, and he put a covering over them.
Yeah, but the thing about that, and it could be of some level of similarity, but the problem with that is it doesn't fit with, see, here's the thing. We leave Egypt after the Lord come back. This time period that we at is actually before the tribulation starts. So we actually, if we were to equate it back to what's going on in the days of Egypt, it's just like us being in Goshen when Moses came to Pharaoh to say, let my people go. That became the time of Jacob's trouble. So if you wanted to equate the two, all this is Moses going to Pharaoh saying, let my people go. And what's going on is there are 7 plagues that's going to come upon Pharaoh that's not going to hit the children of Israel. Those plagues will really be like the trumpets. And then the first 3 plagues that hit Pharaoh, that Pharaoh did and the Lord did, would be more in similarity to the beginning stages or what the Pope did. And I follow your question, and it's a good one. I just don't have the answer. I just know that the time frame that you reading at is really pre-tribulation, because it's us getting to safety at that time. It's okay.
So that pre-tribulation, that's the time. Is that extra 30 or 35 days that is written in the scriptures?
Yeah, I know. I had it up the board so many times, and I don't know how I erased.
Right, that we have a period.
But I got it on my phone. I did take a picture of it. But yeah.
To get away.
Yes. And I'm not going to go read all of it, but I do remember exactly how it looked, and I'll write it below here if I find the black marker that I just had. That I don't know. You seen the marker up here, Ira?
Nah. You know what?
Yeah, just walked away, huh?
Did you? I thought I seen something fall.
Yeah. Well, and so what we had up here was, I see he coming with another. What we had, I'll take that because this one sucks. I don't know where that black marker went, but he'll show up. Is that it? You just happen to carry a dry erase marker in your purse? I'm like, y'all sisters is something else, boy. I mean, sisters be having everything in their purse. Like, you break your arm, next thing you know, sister come out her purse. I got a splint right here, baby. So I can't walk no more. Here go wheelchair too. So here's how, hopefully you can see this. Here's how it worked. We got the 2,300 days. Now we just did this. For those that are watching online, you can go check out the last 2 Bible studies. I think it was a week before or the week before that. But the 2,300 days is how long, it's when they start sacrificing in the temple. It ain't got nothing to do with this up here yet. So don't try to say, oh, the 2,300 days is in here. I'm trying to get back to Sister Mildred's point. So really the 2,300 days, I'll put it up here, starts back here somewhere. So we'll start here. This is them. They're going to be sacrificing. Edom is. Then the Pope going to stop the sacrificing at 1290. Oh, sorry, y'all. It's already a little too, I'm sorry. But I don't have a whole lot more space. So, basically, you got 30 days from when they stop sacrificing to the Great Tribulation actually takes place. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, 2,300, they're going to start. They're going to stop it at 1290. When you say 1290, what do you mean? 1290 to the end. We counting backwards. We starting at 2,300, then we're going really forward, but backwards in numbers. But we're actually going forward in time. All right? So that means that would give you 1,010 days from the time they start sacrificing until this dude stopped them from sacrificing. And we read all this some time ago. So yes, there is some space in which, that's why you say pray that your flight don't be on the Sabbath. So I don't know what's going on. That why we saying we don't want our flight to be on the Sabbath and we don't want our flight to be in the winter. I don't really know. Maybe they are military could be coming after us. I don't know. I don't want to guess and be wrong and then I'm looking for the wrong thing. I just wait and eventually things will begin to reveal themselves. So on that same note, let's go to Daniel 11. We're gonna kind of entertain your aspect of the question too, which is relevant to all of what we're talking about right now. Because basically, here, somewhere in this 2,300 day period, the world done went crazy. See, in Matthew 24, it said that the love of many are waxing cold, right? Well, that's not like one morning it happens. That is something that is continuing to happen and it's continuing to worsen until it gets to a climax somewhere. So now it's getting bad. Like, it's worse than how they feel about Donald Trump. I don't know how they're gonna feel about the next guy. You know what I'm saying? Or even if America gonna be the country then, you know. Like, I don't know how long we got for this, none of this stuff. But I'm saying just look at the signs that we have thus far, okay? Now, Daniel 11 and...
11?
Yeah, Daniel 11. And let's start at verse 31. That way it'll give me time to get there.
Go ahead. And arms shall stand on his part.
All right, so arms, that's the military, is going to stand on, we talking about the abomination or the Antichrist or the abomination of desolation. He going to have arms or military on his part. Go ahead.
And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice.
Right, so he's going to take away the daily sacrifice. So we right here now. So that's why when you say, is it some military that's going to be coming after us? Well, from what we've been doing so far, it very well may be. Because it already read, it said arms are going to be on his part. Then the daily sacrifice is going to be taken away. So, but I don't want, military arms, that could be the police. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't have to be, the United States Marine Corps. It could be whatever you got. But yeah, something could very well be coming after us. That could be true. Go ahead, keep reading.
And they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corrupted by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
Let's see. That's where we want to go. Actually, I think we want to go up a little bit. So let's go up to verse 21. And let's look at this. Go ahead.
And in his estate shall stand up a vile person.
So it's the same person, this vile person, because this office always been the same. It operates the same. Go ahead.
To whom they shall not give honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flattery.
Right. So, because they weren't trying to give the Antichrist this power and authority that he gonna have, but at the same time, it's telling you he gonna come in with flattery and obtain the kingdom. He gonna come in with peace and obtain the kingdom. I was waiting on you. So he said he gonna obtain the kingdom by flattery. Now skip over to verse 24.
He shall enter peaceably upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, and spoil, and riches, yea, he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. And he shall stir up his power.
All right, let's skip over to verse 36 now.
Okay. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
Keep going.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain.
Keep going.
At that time of the end, shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. He shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall.
So all this we kind of read today, and it's just showing you him ruling, how he gonna rule. But a couple of the key things that we saw here was that it said, he was gonna come in peaceably and to take the kingdom by flattery. And when we say by flattery, I don't think he gonna come in there and say, yeah, there you go. Like, I don't think he gonna be on some old, I think you look good, king of France, let me have your kingdom.
Almost like similar to the Pope now.
Exactly.
Because everybody loves him because he's kind of, he agrees with everybody.
I know, right?
And he's
Exactly like the Pope now.
Exactly what they're talking about when he's going to usher in peace.
Yep. Yep. So, hopefully, we cleared that up a little bit. And I'm gonna turn, oh, no problem.
So I had when they said the king of the south shall push at him, that's the Arab nations, and
Yeah, something like that.
and then Europe was gonna come back at them, and then that's where it's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. You just, you had jumped out
Kind
there.
of wrote in my book.
No, but you're right though. But you're right though. Because of where he's coming from, because he's basically coming from Rome. And if you, on the map, and you running from Rome towards Jerusalem, the kings of the south are the Arab nations. You're right. And then you're right. And at that time, should the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north should come against him like a whirlwind. The king of the north, actually, is Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's who's going to push back out.
Now it's on and popping.
Cause that's right. That's where we at. That's who's going against each other. Russia and see on Earth is Russia and Europe, but now all of a sudden, all this time it was Russia and Europe. All this time, then all of a sudden, dude pop up out of the sky, and when he pop up out of the sky, not only he ain't even studying Russia, he mad because of what's going on in Jerusalem. So it's like see. And from the from the Pope's standpoint, he's conquering the world. So he's stopped now in the Middle East. And when you look at it, it tells you at verse 43, it says, and he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and over all precious things, and Libya and Ethiopia should be at his steps. Like, that's where the borders of this, just like in verse 41, it says, and he shall enter into the glorious land, and many countries should be overthrown, but these shall escape the hands, even Edom and Moab and the chief children of Ammon. So if you go to a map, it's creating a border of where he stops. So the Antichrist is moving from Rome, he's coming across, he's conquering. The people from the south come against him, which is the Arabs. They're in northern Africa. Then he's still coming over, he gets to Jerusalem. When he gets to Jerusalem, he has to stop. Because he can't, the Arab nations that's still there have a problem, and now somebody's coming down from the north, Russia.
Wow.
So this is all going on. He's making this move. He gets to Jerusalem here. Once he gets to Jerusalem, he got to stop. Them other nations ain't letting him go there. So it's problems on the earth. But in the meantime, the Pope all this time is in Jerusalem, the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place. Then the Lord come back. Now, the two armies, Russia and Europe, they at odds because Russia is not agreeing with Europe. Who's going to control the world?
Right.
When the Lord come back, he ain't studying Russia. Russia, you ain't sitting in my seat. Europe is. Y'all sitting down in Jerusalem. That's a problem with me. So that's why he's the enemy. And then, we was talking about them last 45 days. I'll deal with Russia later. Okay. That's what that is. I'll deal with Russia after I come back, after my official return, after I bring my children into my land. That's where you start talking them other 45 days. Okay. But at any rate, hopefully we got some more clarity on it.
Brother Diamond, the 2,300 days up front, the temple is built where?
The temple is built.
The third temple that they building now has to be built when the animal sacrifices is going to take place.
Yes.
So that's why you got to keep your eye on Jerusalem.
Right. That's all we got to look. Number one, we got to keep our eye on Jerusalem. Number two, this is what we looking for, though. Yes. When they going to build this temple.
Yes.
When they build this temple, or really when they start sacrificing over there.
Okay.
Then we know, shoot, 2,300 days and the Lord is back.
Wow.
And y'all brothers, that's brothers. Oh, y'all brothers back from downtown. I mean from 69. All right, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. All right, well, we're going to pass the mic over to Brother Ira. Brother Stan, you too tired to read? All right. You got questions online. A few of them. And I'm going to take some water. I'm going to get some water. And I'll be back in here, but you should be able to handle them all.
All right.
And then you can come back to the room if you need them. You know how to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How was it down there, Brother Stan? Oh, wait, we got this.
Was it raining out there? Oh, that's sweat, huh?
I hope it wasn't raining because my car window's down.
Raining.
Unbelievable. Need your sword, brother. All right, let's see what's online here. Jedaiah gave us a whole nother lesson, didn't he?
Somebody pass me a paper towel. Thank you. Can't let that heat stop.
Mm-hmm.
Mic check. Oh man. That's your stuff, brother?
Yeah.
You good?
I'm just trying to figure out. All right, there we go.
He said, is it raining outside? I'm done. Thank you. Thank you, brother. It's just hot outside. What's the question?
I'm looking, I'm seeing, all right. It's,
Oh. No, I thought you was in the middle or something.
No. I'm looking online to see what the questions
okay.
are.
All right. I think I left my phone in the car. I sure do.
You want to grab it?
I got it.
Peace, Sister Key. All right, let me see. We got a question right here from Sunny Shy. Sorry, sent too soon. Based on Ephesians 6, 8, and 9, can it be said that God did not mean for slavery to be full of abuse? It said Ephesians 6 and 8 and 9. You online? You looking at it too, brother?
Yeah, I see it. She said, can that be said that God did not mean for slavery to be full of abuse?
Okay.
Where we at, bro?
Read Ephesians chapter 6 and 8 and 9. Get into it. What's up, bro? Got it? We got to understand.
Ephesians 6.
We have to understand, too. Word. You have to understand that we had servants even when we was in the land, but your servant wasn't meant to be abused and used. It was just for a time and for a purpose that they could serve their masters. So, like anything, like half the reason why the Lord is going to deal with the world the way it is, you know what I mean, is because of the affliction that was put upon Israel. You know, they furthered the affliction of the Israelites. You know, the Lord, he meant for us to go into captivity, but he didn't mean for you to do all this to his people. And we're going to read that also. But we're going to read this verse 6 first, of Ephesians 6 and 8 and 9. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
Knowing that.
Well, you know what? Let's see. Start at verse 5.
5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ.
Go ahead.
Not with eye service as men pleasers.
Go ahead.
But as the service of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart.
Go ahead.
With good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall be he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free.
Go ahead.
And ye masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing, threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of persons with him.
All right, so you got to understand, brothers and sisters, excuse me, that even when we're doing our jobs, even that when we're working on our jobs at work and everything, you know what I mean, you might have masters or you have your supervisors that's over you that may not particularly treat you the right way. But you know that us doing what we got to do for the Lord, our jobs when we're working, we know we're working like we're working unto the Lord, because he's the one that's going to ultimately, you know, give us our service at due time, or give us or render unto us a good reward if we faint not. If we don't faint on these jobs when these people are treating us wrong, whatever, we know that we're working for a master other than this guy. God is the ultimate master. And in everything that we do, we're not supposed to be slothful in business. We're not supposed to be slothful in our work and what we're doing. And we're working like we're actually doing it towards the Lord. So as the sister had wrote, and she wanted to know, oh, here it is. There we go. Can it be said that God did not mean for slavery to be full of abuse? You're absolutely, positively right. It wasn't for that. And we're going to look back in the scriptures that, you know, when you abuse a servant or a manservant, you know, they was going to be recompensed for that. Either they was going to be set free, you know what I mean, depending upon what the abuse was, or another recompense would happen. We're going to actually read it. We're going to read this. Go to Exodus. Go to Exodus 21 and 20. And we're going to look at a couple of things right here. Because abuse, just because you have a slave, don't mean that, you know, it's not the slavery like we had. Like you're supposed to be just abusing your servants, your manservants or your maidservants. They're supposed to just perform a duty for a brother or sister, you know, and they're supposed to be compensated for that. You know what I mean? Whether you're getting housing or whatever, you're not supposed to just abuse somebody. And we're going to look into it. Exodus chapter 21, and when you get there, brother, read verse 20 and 21. Exodus chapter 21, 21, read verse 20 and 21. When you get there, go ahead, brother.
Wait, you want 21 and 20? Or?
Yes, 21 and 20.
And if
Go ahead.
And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money.
Go ahead.
If men strive and hurt a woman with child.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good right there. We're going into something else. So, you know, I guess his slave, he got beat or got chastised. You know, so it says, if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding. So right there, just reading this scripture right here is going to let you know that, you know, God don't accept the abuse of another manservant or maidservant. You know what I mean? Especially if they die under it. The guy, just because he's his maid or his manservant doesn't mean you could treat him any kind of way, like property, like we were treated. You know, when we came over on the slave ships, we were straight property. You know, so it was like whether you kill us, maim us, treat us all bad, it was all good in the eyes. And like I said, for that reason, one of the reasons alone that the Lord is going to come back and, you know, really deal with our oppressors, because the Lord said he was mad at us for, you know, he was a little mad at us, but the enemy furthered the affliction on us. You know, he's like, I want you to go over there, you're going to get dealt with, but I didn't say to go and do all this to Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Zechariah.
Where's that at, brother? Zechariah? Where is it?
Zechariah 1:15.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Let's read that. Zechariah 1:15.
Or 14, you won't pick it up.
I'm going to look at the...
Where are these gnats coming from?
I don't know. They just messing with me all day, man.
That's crazy.
All right.
They
They was messing with me all day. I'm serious, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Jedaiah was like, yo, I'm over here clapping and trying to kill you. He was like, man, you going to stop doing this, man. You're quenching the spirit. I was like, my bad, brother. I'm sorry. This joint's flying all over my head. So, go to Zechariah chapter 1, and we're going to start and read at verse 14, brother.
Yes, sir. That's it.
When you get there, Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 14, read that.
The great day of the Lord is near. It is near, and hasten greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
Go ahead.
That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess.
Where you at, brother? Bro, where you at, brother?
I'm in the wrong book.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like,
I'm sorry.
no, don't worry. I did it earlier. I did it earlier. I was like, God, I was all wrong. He asked me to go. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 14.
I apologize. I'm
It's
so
all
sorry.
good.
All right. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Go ahead.
I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with the great jealousy.
Come on.
And I am very sore displeased with the heathen.
Why is the Lord sore displeased with the heathen, brother? Read that.
That are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped for the affliction.
The help forward the affliction. The help forward the affliction of who?
Israel.
His people. You know what I mean? Israel. Go ahead, keep going. Read verse 16.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts. And a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Cry yet
All
say.
right, that's good enough right there, brother. But like I said, the Lord's going to be upset with these people that further the affliction of his people. Surely he used the Gentiles as the belt in his hand to correct us, but they went too far. All right, I want to get to, I pretty much answered that question right there. Yeah, you know, that's really good enough. The Lord does not appreciate anyone going and beating, just abusing your masters and your servants. The masters abusing the servants. No, not at all. All right, let me see. Hebrews chapter 1, 7, and 14. How is it that the wicked angels can benefit us towards our fight for salvation? How is it that the wicked angels can benefit us towards our fight for salvation?
Hebrews what?
1, 7, and 14.
Wow.
Hebrews 1.
Hold up.
It's not talking about the wicked angels.
No.
Let me see. 7, 14. Okay. Okay, sister. Yeah. Read verse 7.
And the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire.
Okay. Keep going. I'm sorry. And skip down to verse 14.
Are they not all minister spirits, set forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation?
Now, these angels that he's talking about here, you know, the angels that's ministering to the people aren't the wicked angels. These are the holy angels of God. They're going to come to you. They're going to come and minister unto you. The wicked angels, let me see, how is it that the wicked angels can benefit us towards our fight for salvation? If the Lord send a wicked angel to you, you know, that's going to be for correction.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not going to send a holy angel to you to correct you. You know, he has the holy angels minister unto those that's going to be the heir of salvation. So he's going to send a holy angel so that he can, you know, give you that good information that you need. The wicked angels, let's turn to Psalm 78 real fast. Because he's going to show you that he uses the wicked angels to bring destruction or havoc or correction to those that may need it. Because you got to remember, he don't need the holy angels to do that. He got those wicked angels to do that for him, to bring evil. Go ahead.
Didn't the Lord send evil angels?
Where that? Exactly. Can you say that again?
Yeah. You know, didn't the Lord send evil angels to Egypt to, you know, deliver those plagues upon Egypt?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're getting ready to read into right now. Psalm 78, and we're going to start at verse 42. Start at verse 41. We're going to read down to it. And when you get there, go ahead and read, brother.
Yea, they turned back and tempt God, and limited the Holy One of Israel. They remember not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy.
Go ahead.
How he had wrought his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zion.
Go ahead. So he's talking about how the Lord, he's just bringing to remembrance what the children of Israel was doing, and what they done did, and how the Lord was really working with them. And he's just telling them their history, what they done did with them, coming out of Egypt. Go ahead, brother.
44. And had turned their rivers into blood.
Go ahead.
And their floods that they could not drink.
Go ahead.
He sent diverse sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them.
So this happened, and the Lord is allowing this to happen. So now how is all these things happening? These are these plagues. How are they happening? Are they happening by good angels, or are they happening by evil angels? We're going to find out. Go ahead.
He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust.
Go ahead.
He destroyed their vines with hail.
Go ahead.
And their sycamore trees with frost.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger.
Now, how did he do it?
Wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them.
Go ahead.
He made a way to his He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence.
Keep going.
And smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength, in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep.
All right, so look, we needed them. He used them evil angels to bring forth punishment. The righteous angels, you know, they encampeth around his saints, those that are doing God's will. So, like I said, the question, and we can read this. Go to Psalm chapter 34 and verse 7. Psalm chapter 34 and verse 7, brother. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them.
All right. So now, like, them good angels are going to bring deliverance. Them evil angels, I'm not seeing no deliverance. I'm seeing that they bringing destruction and wreaking havoc on somebody. All right. Now, according to the question, it says, how is it that wicked angels can benefit us towards our fight for salvation? And honestly, sis, the way that I can see it, them benefiting us, if it's going to be a benefit, is that, you know, we don't, because they're going to be used for correction. That's the only way I can see it, for correction, for us to, after the Lord chastises us, that it will yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness. That's the only way I can see that they could be used to benefit the children of Israel. I mean, or anyone that's going to be underneath the covenant of God. You know what I mean? Because the Lord uses the evil angels to bring correction. So when they bring correction, the Lord is in fact dealing with us as he deals with sons. And prayerfully, we'll get the picture. We get the picture and change and repent from whatever it was we were doing that brought on this correction from the Lord. So I hope I answered your question on that one.
That was good. It's like with Job when he used that hedge of protection around him and Satan, you know.
Ooh.
It's like Job when he moved that hedge of protection from around him, and
right,
and Satan could get at him. So yeah,
right,
you know, and he was righteous. So you're right. When we out of line or we getting chastised, and you know them evil angels coming at us, yeah, you're right. Hopefully we wake up.
Exactly. So you know, like, and like the Bible says, you know, all things work to the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. So when we're going through our chastisement, you know that if the Lord is going to send it to us, or we have to go through it, it should be working to our good. He said all things work to the good, you know, for those that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. So, being that you mentioned Job, sister, let's just go there. Because I had read in Psalms 34, like, listen, the angel of the Lord encampeth around the saints. All right, so we're going to look and see to deliver them, as it says, right? The angel of the Lord encampeth around about them that fear him to deliver them. All right. Verse 9 says in Psalms 34:9, fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no want or lack to them that fear him. You understand? Like the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous. So the angels being around the hedge of protection, as we're going to read in Job, we're going to see that, you know, Job could not get, the devil, Satan could not get to Job unless the Lord removed that hedge. Then that evil angel could come and buffet Job. And you see, after everything, even though Job, it will say, Job didn't do nothing to basically bring this on himself, but the Lord just, you know, allowed this to happen to him. But you see the mercy of the Lord and the graciousness of the Lord. Job, everything got took from him, his riches, his family, his health. You know, but we see what happened at the end, being that angel came and buffeted him. The Lord allowed that to happen. And you see that at the end, what did it do? Job, the Lord, yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness all the way to the end where the Lord blessed him doubly. So I guess you could say it was a benefit to the fact that evil angel came and messed with him, because, you know, Job held his integrity as the Lord knew he would, you know. And the Lord blessed them for it. All right. Just read Job chapter 1 and start at verse 1. When you get there, brother, go ahead and worry.
There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. Mm-hmm. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went, excuse me, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them.
Right.
And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said,
What'd he say?
It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
All right, so you see that this man Job, he said he was perfect. Like a little sidebar, the Lord said, Abraham, walk before me. I'm the Lord thy God. You know what I mean? Walk before me and be perfect. You know, the Lord wouldn't say, be perfect, be ye holy, for I am holy, if it was not possible. So the Lord is not setting us up for failure. And he shows people that were perfect, meaning that they were blameless according to the law. You know what I mean? You can be blameless. I can be blameless. You know what I mean? If we walk up in righteousness and keep continuing to do so. Okay? Most people say that you can't do that. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, and I tell them quick, don't say what I can't do. Maybe you can't do it. But don't say what I can't do. You know what I mean, brother? I'm striving for that. You know what I mean? So now there was a man in the name of us whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright and one that feared God and eschewed evil. So he got his credentials right there. The Lord is giving you his credentials. Skip down to verse 6, brother.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered and said,
What the accuser say?
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught?
And you got to understand that this is the adversary. This is his job. You know, him along with the rest of his cohorts, you know what I mean? They're like, listen, I bet you I can get, and you can fit your name underneath this, him, her, or whatever, to curse you or to do whatever contrary to your word. This is going on. The devil is walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. You know, so you gotta figure in yourself that, you know what, maybe it's time for my testing, or maybe the Lord, you know, maybe the Lord is considering me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, brothers and sisters, you gotta make sure, like, this. How can an evil angel benefit us in our walk? Toward our fight for salvation? Well, look at it this. Because lightweight in essence, the devil coming and considering Job, you know, this is going to ultimately be to Job's demise or his salvation. And this is what's happening with basically everyone. Everyone. You know what I mean? So we have these angels that's always playing double dutch with us. They're waiting. You know what I mean? When you're walking upright with the Lord and you know you keeping his law, statutes, commandments, and them angels of the Lord are encamping around about you, them evil angels can't get to you. So what they doing is they waiting. They seeing what you thinking. They seeing what you proclaiming out your own mouth, what you going to do. They're waiting to see if you're going to transgress some way, shape, form, or fashion the Lord's word. If you're going to transgress the word of your mouth. Because some people will say, you know what, Lord, get me out of this situation. I'll never do this again. I won't go back. I won't do such a thing. So you start snaring your own self by the words of your mouth. And then, you may not have broke none of these commandments, but guess what? You done broke something that you said I wasn't going to do. And now I can get it. I can get at you now. You understand? So, because you're making vows. You know what I mean? You're making vows to the Lord. All right, so now, verse 9 says, what Then Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for naught? Verse 10, what do you say?
Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
But now what? Here go the proposition. Go ahead.
But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
All right, so, this evil angel went forth. You know what I mean? So to prove Job. Job was getting proven.
He couldn't wait to go.
Say again?
I said he couldn't wait to leave.
Yeah. Let me go get at him, because I know. Satan dealing with man. Satan been dealing with man for a long time. Very fashioned in the intricacies of mankind, trying to sway him and deal with the flesh, because that's where Satan deals at. He deals in fleshly things. So he exhausted every avenue of trying to get you to succumb to your flesh. All right.
That was good stuff, bro. Good stuff, bro.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. Who were the three groups of nations taken down? I remember you said the Vandals. Who were the other two? The Huralians and the Ostrogals. Vandals, the Huralians, and the Ostrogals. The Vandals is where you get vandalism from. Ostrogals, where you get the Gothic. You get Gothic, Gothic stuff from. And the Huralians, I don't know what that is. I just know it was a nation that went against the Pope, and he wiped them off the map. You're not even heard of no more. Get into your history books. You can look that up. It's the good thing about what we do here, and as well as the other camps that we're affiliated with. We do a lot of history. We study the history, so that we can, it's going to line up with what that word says. Vandals, Ostrogoths, and the Huralians. All right. Happy Sabbath. I'm ministering to a guy at work, and he think that we were taken from Africa. He showed me a map of Africa where can I show him we were taken from Israel. Oh yes, no, praise the Lord, sister. All right, where can I show him that we were taken from Israel? Now see, as it was brought to me before, we in like the Middle East. So, where should I take you? Turn to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Because when we were taken out of the last bit of Jews were taken in 70 AD out of their land. A lot was fleed into West Africa, and some people like to call that like the Ivory Coast and the Slave Coast. You can look on the map and find an old picture of Africa. It's called Negro Land. There it is. Map, and it says Negro Land, and on all the coasts, it'll show you like where they was taking the slave, where they were taking ivory, where they were taking gold and everything. It's all on an older map. It's so good that you can go and just Google it. I actually had it on my computer. I want to get this real fast. I said, use everything to my advantage. No. recording. My battery is low. While it's booting up, we have to find out who we are first and foremost. And being that you asked me who, you pretty much know who you are, and you know that we was taken from our people were taken from Israel and from in Africa. But you got to find out who you are first, and most people, like I said, they don't know who they are. So when you start talking to people, you start dealing with them, you say, look, I'm black and I'm this, that, third. You're going off of what you've been told in the schools and all that. So we'd like to take you from the Bible and just learn like who we are from the Bible and learn why it is that we could say that our people was cast out of Israel. Deuteronomy 32, we were cast out of Israel, and it was going to happen at a specific time. All right, bro. All right. Start at verse 7. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7. When you go ahead, brother, read.
Remember the days of old, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will shew thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
All right, so we're going to sit here right here. Look at what's happening right here in the law, all right? By the mouth of Moses, he says, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. Sadly, my mother and my father didn't tell me that I was an Israelite. They didn't tell me that, you know what? They told me that we came over on slave ships, but they did the same spill that they was getting from the same educational school, that miseducational school that, we all go through. You know what I'm saying? They're telling us that we're black people. They're telling us that, our history only started when we came over here on slave ships from Africa. But we know that we was before that. We came from a place before that. And it's going to take studying. It's going to take the right teachers. It's going to take the right, due diligence to find that out. So the Lord is telling you right here by the mouth of Moses, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will shew thee, and the elders, and they will tell thee. All right? When the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, listen, the nations got divided an inheritance. Black people, we are a black people, and we are a nation of people that if we were from Africa, Africa has nations. We're not from Zimbabwe. We're not from Ethiopia. Some people might have been taken from these coasts. But guess what? The same people that we're trying to identify with do not want to identify with us. So that should question you. Why is it that I've been over here, I've been over wherever we are scattered at, and every time I see someone that looks like me and they call themselves African and I call them brother, they say, you not my brother.
Bro, we just witnessed that today in the streets.
That's what that happened in the streets?
Yeah. The Hamite woman didn't want to identify herself with us.
And yet and still, all right, brother. Peace,
All
Hebrew.
right, peace, Brother Paul.
And yet and still, we still try to identify with that nation when we are not that nation. Hold your finger here and turn to Amos chapter 5. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to show you what the Lord say about this. How we may look like these people or look like this nation, but in fact we are not. And we got to go by the Bibles, brothers and sisters. This is our history. let's see, no, Amos chapter 9. Turn to Amos chapter 9. Whew. And verse 7. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read that.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me?
See, the Lord, this is the Lord speaking by the prophet Amos. He says, Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me? Go ahead.
O children of Israel, saith the Lord,
Uh-huh.
have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and from Syria from Ker?
So now the Lord is telling you, like, listen,
Syrians.
are y'all not? Don't y'all look like the Ethiopians to me? Although y'all not, but we look like them. We are like them, but we're not like them. Who got my book bag? Oh, it's right here. Yeah. Hey, Chris, you got your Zondervan Bible on you? Grab that Zondervan Bible real fast, because we're going to talk to you about Ham. We're going to see how Ham, they look like us, but we ain't them. Turn back to Amos chapter 3 and verse 1 and 2, and just read that real fast. Because the Lord is trying to get you to understand that we both are dark-skinned people, but we ain't the same people. And they have a particular land, and we have our land. And we're going to separate, and we're going to find that out, and we'll see exactly who it is. Amos chapter 3. And when you get there, brother, read verse 1 and 2. Amos 3, verse 1 and 2. Go ahead and read.
Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Come on.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt.
Right.
Saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
All right, all right. So it says, hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for your iniquities. Everybody that's on this land, on this earth, is tied to a land mass. All right? That's when you start becoming a nation. You're tied to a land mass. Okay? The children of Israel are from the land of Israel. All right? And you tied to that land. Let me read this right here about Ham, brother. This is Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. And read about Ham right here, the second son of Noah. Go ahead, brother.
The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood.
That's right.
And one of the 8 persons to live through the flood.
Go ahead.
He became the progenitor of the dark races.
He's the progenitor of the dark races.
Not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. But who?
But the Egyptians.
The Egyptians.
Ethiopians.
The Ethiopians. Didn't we just read here in Amos chapter 9? It said, children of Israel.
Libyans.
Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Don't you look like the Ethiopians unto me? So Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. That's who you are, Negro colored, African American, Afro American, all them funny, them pet names. But he said the who? The Egyptians?
The Egyptians, the Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
That's right. So now we know that these are Hamitic people. We're Shemitic people. And now the Lord divided. All right, that's cool. That's all right there. That's good. On your own, you can pick this up on your own and look at it yourself. The Lord said, back in Deuteronomy chapter 32, at verse 8, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, he separated the sons of Adam, and he set the bounds of the people according to the number of Israel. All right, peace, sister. So he gave everybody their land. He set the bounds of the people. That's why we got 12 hours. We got 24 hours in a day. 12 hours at night, 12 hours in the daytime. We got 12 months of the year. He set all the bounds of the people that's all around the earth according to the number of the tribe of the children of Israel. There's 12 sons of Israel. All right? And he set that according to set the nations according to that number. All right? Read verse 9.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness.
Go ahead.
He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirred up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him.
That's right. So the Lord is taking them out of Egypt, and he's bringing them. What he's doing is performing the oath that he made to their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he's going to bring them into the land that flows with milk and honey, otherwise called the Promised Land. So this is the land that we're going to go into. This is the land of Canaan, which is where modern-day Israel and all the coast up here, which they done divided the land severely. Israel's a little bit big, it's much bigger than what we see today. But they divided that land, and that's where our land is at, right up in there, Israel. Where was I going? Uh-huh. That's where they usually flee to. You know what I mean? Had to go to Africa. Mm-hmm. Of course they did. And when they did help sell us. Everybody had a hand in selling us. Mm-hmm. And without going, getting real deep into it, the reason why it's a conspiracy. Sorry. It's a conspiracy with all the nations. It's a conspiracy to keep us from finding out who we are. Because just like when we came out of Egypt, the Lord made a name for himself. And he's going to do the same thing again. He's going to do the same thing again. And when we went into the nation, we went in to get our nation. He was destroying nations in front of Israel. And that was, they would hear the fear of us as a people. The fear of the Lord. First of all, they feared our God. So now, us as a people and our God, they look, they wouldn't have had no parts with us. You know what I mean? Or they wanted to get down with us through hook or crook because our God was knocking them off the mat. So when we fell, it's because of what we transgressed our God. And the nations know that. And that's the big thing about the world. They know that we transgressed our God. And if we ever find out who we are as a people and get back in right line with our God, then the world ain't got no chance. They kind of like it where they at. They kind of like stepping on our necks. They like using us, using ourselves, using us for their own good, underpaying us. They like all that they're doing because we don't know who we are as a people. And for your own sake, y'all can read that in Psalms 83, how the nations are, and they are in confederacy with one another. But I don't want to digress. Let me see, where is that? He showed me a map of Africa. Where can I show him? We were taken from Israel. Okay.
We wasn't taken from,
No. Israel was kicked out of their land, but we you have the slave trade. You can look at the slave trade and find out, what type of people were taken and traded in the Middle Passage. If you're asking in the book, Shoot, you can look at, all of Matthew 24. You can look at Luke 21. When the Lord tells you, let's look in the book. Look at Luke 21.
You could show her how we got there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was in Deuteronomy for. I was in Deuteronomy.
What you want, 21?
After we go to Deuteronomy, we're going to go to Luke 21.
Oh, we still in Deuteronomy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Because whoever you talk to, they're going to have to be patient enough for you to go through these things. Because, just for you just to come out and tell them, they may not believe you. Oh, where on the map? Thank you, Susan. All right.
That was your bag back there?
Yeah.
My sister said I look tired.
Hmm?
I said my sister said I look tired. Sister Key is real.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Son of a gun. Punch up, let me see, Negro Land. Man. What was the password on this again?
For what, the internet?
Yeah.
I have no clue. Something. You know the password, Chris, to the internet?
What's the internet password? It is? All lowercase?
I thought they changed it. What is it?
Hebrews?
With the S. Is that capital?
No. You know what I'm saying? That's the craziest. That ain't it anyway.
I didn't even think about it.
Unbelievable, cuz.
Called Jedaiah.
That's what
Where he at? Tyler here? Where? He in the cut. I should have known Tyler, though.
Yeah, all lowercase. Unbelievable.
Nah, I think it's something with 777, bro.
Nah, they changed it.
Hold up.
All that I want to look up is Negro Land.
Negro land. What you looking for, the map?
Yeah.
Or like that?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I want. Unbelievable.
Is Gary back there?
Nah, he just left.
Oh, yeah, he did just slide out. I'm telling you, I think it's...
while I'm trying to bring it up, sis, you can look, peace. You can look right, being that you're on the computer, you can go and Google, type up Negro Land. Type up Negro Land, and you're going to look and you see the Ivory Coast, you're going to see the Slave Coast, and where they was taken out of, or people was taken out from Africa. All right, very good. Very good, I'm in.
What was it?
Israel 7.
That's what I thought. I knew it was something.
Israel 7.
Just 1? 7?
Mm-hmm. All right. Map of Negro land.
You can bring it up there.
Oh, shucky ducky quack quack. Sis, I hope you can see this. No. They ain't gonna be able to see it online, you think?
Not unless you take it up to the camera.
Yeah,
That's the only
Lord.
way she'll see it. But you told her where to. You out? Oh. Not yet.
All right, sis. Yes. I'm going the hardest time trying to bring this thing up. He asking for a stop, security check, and all type of stuff on it.
See? Let's see.
Man. All right, sis, when you go online, sis, you can see it. You can bring up Negro land. It's going to be a coast. They're going to have it broke down, and you can really equate it to the maps of today. And you can see where the slaves were taken from. Okay. Look online and see if you can see that.
Gotcha.
Look online.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Hold on, let me pull it up. It's delayed. Hold on. Now you're walking up to the camera, bro. Hold on. I'll tell you now. Lift it up some. You can see it, but you gotta lift it up.
Can you see it now?
Hold on, it's still delayed. You probably lift it up some more.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you gotta lift it up more, bro.
Bro, look at this.
There you go, there you go.
All right, what it look like? You see? All right, so now you got
Ira.
word. All right, so now you got Negro land right here. For whatever reason, it's not giving me. All right, there we go. So now you got the slave coast.
Lift it up.
The slave coast right here, you know. The Gold Coast, where they got the tooth, they get the grain. Sierra Leone. This is all Negro land. In Africa, I want to say it's like West Africa, where all the slaves where they were taken from. So when you see this map right here, sister, it says the Negro land and New Guinea. I want to apologize for my makeshift way of bringing it. I wish you could see it on the big screen up here, but you can't see that. But when you punch up, oh, I did, thank you. Okay, woo, very good. When you punch it up in the computer, you can take that, and it's different maps right next to it, to where you can really so you can relate to back then and what it looked like today on the map. You know, you can take it and see that. And then you could take them through to, you know, from Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy 32, and it's going to show you the Lord tells you that, you know what, he took us and scattered us into all the nations because we broke his laws and his statutes and his commandments. And I'm just going to read these two to you, and we'll go on. Start at verse 15, 32 and 15, brother.
Deuteronomy 32 and 15.
Go ahead.
But Jeshurun waxed fat.
Go ahead.
And kicked. Thou art waxed fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness.
Mm-hmm.
Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger.
Go ahead.
They sacrificed it to devils, not to God.
So now they're provoking the Lord to anger and jealousy. We already read in Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 is the blessings and the pronouncing of the blessings and the curses. Conditional. If Israel do and obey the voice of the Lord, then they're going to be blessed. If they disobey the voice of the Lord, then they're going to be cursed. And when they're cursed, all these conditions are going to come upon them. And the Lord tells you in Deuteronomy 28 that it's going to be, all these conditions that come upon us is going to be for a sign to show them forever, to them and to their children forever. You know what I mean? It's going to be a sign because we're going to discontinue from our heritage. Go ahead, keep reading, brother.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
Mm-hmm.
Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful.
They're unmindful of the rock that begot them, the rock that brought them out of Egypt, that destroyed, that brought them out of Egypt with great signs and great wonders. They were unmindful of them. Keep going, brother.
And has forgotten God that formed thee.
All right, you forgotten God, right? That formed you. And what happened when the Lord saw it?
When the Lord saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
And because he abhorred them, and because they provoked him, what did God do to this people? Go ahead.
And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be.
Go ahead.
For they are a very forward generation. Children in whom is no faith.
All right, and what they going to do?
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not a God.
So the Lord practical, man. The Lord tells you in Leviticus, man, look, if you walk contrary to me, I'm going to walk contrary to you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So bunk that the Lord love everybody and love you despite of your sin and all that. Nah, Lord, like, look, if you do me dirty, I'm going to do you dirty. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to put it in layman term. I'm going to just keep it funky. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you ain't going to, look, you walk right with me, I'm going to walk right with you. If not, then guess what? You got to come to me. And I show you that he ain't playing. He said, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not a God. Well, since you want to deal with gods that ain't no God, and I show you I'm the true and living God, all right, I'm gonna do you one better. What do he say to them?
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
Okay, I'm gonna move you to jealousy with those that are not a people then. Huh? Because, listen, when I'm with you, if God be for me, who can be against me? You walk up against any nation, they ain't no nation. Because they got crushed underneath your foot. So now I'm going to bring a nation from far and wide that really ain't no nation, because no nation can stand before you. But being that I'm going to bring this nation in front of you, a nation that really, they done robbed you for everything that you have, Israel. We got the first hearts, the heart surgeons. We have the mathematicians. We have everything. We done created everything. We done built everything, and they done robbed and stole from you and created it as your own. So don't you get mad about that? You get mad about that to this very day. So he said, I'm gonna provoke you to jealousy. Go ahead.
I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation, for a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell.
All right, so now skip down to verse 26, and this is what's going to happen. What did the Lord say is going to happen?
I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
So there it is. That's why you black, and that's why you colored, and that's why you African American to this day. He said, Lord said, I'm going to scatter you into all nations. So the scattering is going to come, when you get scattered, you get taken out your land. When you get taken and you get captive, the captor always take the captive, and what do? They change their name, don't they?
Yes, sir.
That's the first thing. They put the stamp of approval. Here, let me brand you. And Negroes and
look at Daniel and his.
Look, Negroes want to go to fraternities and sororities and get branded to this day, not knowing that they're perpetuating the same thing that happened, with their captors. You daggone, you pledging to Delphi and all this other kind of stuff, the Greek deities. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lord provoking you to, provoke you to jealousy with a nation that ain't no nation, man, a foolish nation that's serving gods that ain't no gods. And then you're going to forget your name. You're going to forget your heritage. And then you're going to try to identify with people that sold you, and they don't want to identify with you. But this is all that was written that was going to happen to us, right? He said, I'm going to scatter you and make the remembrance of you to cease from amongst men. Jeremiah chapter 17. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. Just one verse. And when you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
All right, so now the Lord said, you're going to discontinue from your heritage. Where your heritage at? You know what I mean? You don't have, Jacob. Where was Jacob at, man? He was in the land of Canaan, which is the land of Egypt. I mean, the land of Israel. You discontinue from that. You're not even worried about that land. You're not even considering that you have a land. You're thinking that you're from Egypt, and these people don't even love you. Don't even like you.
No, they don't.
If you ain't from Egypt, then where else you going to be at? You know what I mean? I mean, Israel get down with it, whatever is good. You're around here singing some dumb goy, whatever. You know, that Buddhist, when you a Buddha, some yum, 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 or whatever they don't remember. Tina Turner was
I don't know what they be
whatever, man. You know what I mean? You anything. Whatever looks good and it feels good and it got some type of status, Israel is a part of it. Yes, Israel, the Chinese man, right? Ain't he? Suki Wookie Hawk Saki Su. You sock it to me, I sock it. Like if it's good, Israel there, man. You can discontinue from your heritage. Your heritage is Israel. That's where you at. You're named after you're named after your father. Your father has a land named after, he's named after the land is named after him. Israel. That's where you at. But the Lord just told you right here, you're going to discontinue from your heritage. You know what I mean? You're going to serve your enemies in hunger and in thirst and want of all things. If you want to eat, you got to get it from your enemy.
That's right.
If you want education, you got to get it from your enemy.
Get it from them. Sad.
You want justice? You got to get it from God, because the enemy ain't going to give you nothing. The enemy ain't giving you no justice, no peace.
No,
feed the flock of the slaughter, right?
That's right.
Whose oppressors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's book.
That is book.
That's book.
Oh, yeah, you know, anything else right there? She said, I did.
Did you still want to go?
Oh, she said, I need to know where on the map. All right, I did. Thank you. Okay, cool, sister. Thank you.
Did you still want to go to Luke?
Yeah, Luke 21. That's it. Because once we're in our land, Luke 21, and when you get there, start at verse 17.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall not an hair of your head perish.
Go ahead.
And your patience possess ye your soul.
Go ahead.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
All right, the Lord's telling them now, you know, this is when he's giving you signs of what's going to happen. The temple being destroyed, the sign of the end, and his second coming. So when he says this happens, look at verse 20.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
When you shall see Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
Passed with armies, not Egypt.
No.
Because that's your land. When you see Jerusalem passed with armies, what's going to happen?
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
And then what?
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains.
And
let them which are in the midst of and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
All right, we're talking about, you know, and this is going to happen two times, brothers and sisters. You got this happening in 70 AD with Titus and what's the other boy's name, man? Antiochus. No, Roman Emperor Titus. He the one that did this. And what's going to happen at verse 24?
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Didn't the Lord say they're going to be led away? We just read that in Deuteronomy, right?
That's right.
Because they want to keep transgressing their God's law. They're going to be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be what? Trodden down under the feet of who?
The Gentiles.
Until
the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
All right. And so we know right now, those that got understanding, we know that we're in the time of the Gentiles. This is the Gentile dynasty that's going in. The last part of the Gentile dynasty that's going to be here is what? Rome, right?
Yeah.
And so history will pan out when you read in Daniel that Daniel had the vision of the Gentile dynasty starting from Babylon, Medo-Persia, to Greece, to Rome, you know, to the two legs. You know what I mean? It's going to be the European Union. At the end, it's going to pan out until that rock made with our hands is going to crash it at the feet. That's going to be the last part of it, and grow into a mountain on the earth. So you see, brothers and sisters, that you know what, we coming from Jerusalem. We got kicked out of Jerusalem. We flee into Africa, and from there we were in all parts. We were taken and put into all parts of the earth. All parts. We scattered into the corners of the earth. Daniel, one more place. Daniel. We're going to go to Daniel, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, chapter 9. No, it was chapter 7. Yeah, no, chapter 9. Daniel chapter 9. And start reading. Read verse 8. Start at verse 8. And this will be the last place. And he's part of the captives, you know, that went into captivity in Babylon. And he's praying right now, and he's confessing his sins to the Lord. And look what he said. And look what he said happened to him. Read at verse 8. When you get there, brother, go and read.
O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face. To our kings. To our princes. And to our fathers.
Why?
Because we have sinned against thee.
So that's why we walk around confused to this day.
That's right.
That's why they don't know. They can't catch out. They don't understand why we getting all this atrocity and stuff happening to us. Why we just can't seem to get on top. because they're not known to go back to their God. They don't know who they are. They're dealing with other gods. They're dealing with the gods of their captors. You know what I'm saying? So that they confused. It's like they chasing their tail right now because they don't know. Once they find out who they are, they can find out where they come from and then how they can get remedy. So it says, confusion belonged to our face. It said, "O Lord, to us belong confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers." Go ahead. "Because we have sinned against thee." Go ahead.
To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness. Though we have rebelled against him.
Go ahead.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God.
Go ahead.
To walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets.
Go ahead.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey the voice.
Yeah, you said, yea, all Israel transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, what?
The curse is poured upon us.
Even until this day, brothers and sisters.
Yes, sir.
The curse is poured upon us, and what?
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses.
The oath that's written in the law of Moses. What is that oath? We was just reading it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, the blessings and the curses. What could happen? We're going to get stripped from our land. We're going to get brought over to all these countries in slave ships. And here we're going to get, and when we hear, we're going to serve our enemy. We're going to get sold as bondmen and bondwomen. You know what I mean? And no one's going to buy us out of our condition. The Lord said he's going to discontinue you from your heritage. You ain't going to know if you Israel. You ain't going to know if you black. You ain't going to know nothing. You ain't going to know you Israel, but you definitely going to know that you black and colored and Afro-American. You're going to be all these proverb and bywords because the curse is poured upon us. Because we did not listen to the Lord our God. We didn't obey his voice, and we transgressed his law. And the curse is poured upon us, what?
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
And what has he done?
And he have confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us. Yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth.
See, that's it. Yet to this day. I love how Daniel put this. He said, you know, all this is all as it been written, as it was written. What did Peter say? You know, we have a more sure word of prophecy, that we do good, I mean, that we take heed unto that. All this is written. So everything that happened to us, sis, you know what I mean, and brothers, it has been written. All we got to do is just go back and find and look up this word and see that the Lord is true. So with that, if we don't have any more questions.
Ain't none online?
None online. Yeah.
I got one.
Good.
It's something simple. Let's go to Matthew 10.
Matthew 10.
Yes, sir. I'll read it. I understand it and everything. I just want to read it.
Go ahead.
So before I ask my question. Matthew 10, and I'm picking up at 34.
34. Yeah, I was trying to show a picture of Negro land. I had to do it the ghetto way.
She still saw it.
Yeah, it worked. Go ahead, brother.
Is it a contrast on that?
Yeah. By Mali. Where's Mali at, man? About Malaysia. Mali. In Africa, yeah. Or the south, I mean, not south, but West Africa. It's in West Africa. Then I was letting them know, like on the map, as you got maps on there, I said you can just punch this up on there, and it'll bring you maps so you can look and see Negro land, and you can see the map, the whole map of Africa, so you can see exactly where it was at in there. It's going to give it to you. Go ahead.
All right, I'm picking up at 34.
Go ahead, brother.
It says, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Yes, sir.
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Okay. My question was there. Now, you know, we understand what Jesus is saying right here. Now, suppose, you know, a teenager come into the truth and they want to, you know, say the parents had them going to Sunday church every Sunday and they want to stop going to church, but they about 14, 15, and their parents are still forcing them to go. Do they have a decision? Can they make that decision, or because they still underage, they still have to obey their parents?
What do you think about it? How do you have a decision tomorrow?
I'll say no.
I
Bro.
guess that's it then. But I'm saying, like, when it comes to
Nope.
just
Honor your
being
father and
still-
your mother, man. You got.
Nah, well, I mean, I kind of figured that, but I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, the child, God know.
Okay.
Come out that jam after a while. 5 years later, maybe, once they old enough to make that move, go stay with relatives or something like that, they heard some kind of way.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I'm stay with my own. I mean, you ain't got to eat pork that's put on your plate. You be smart about that. But, you know what I mean? They say get up and go to church on Sunday morning. That's what you doing.
That's what you're doing.
Cause hell when you go to church.
That's what I was saying. The Lord said they're going to throw you out the synagogues, right? Be up in there saying some more stuff. Well, what does this mean, Pastor? Like, what's wrong with your son, man? Why are you always in here trying to quote the book? Ain't in the Bible? We supposed to be reading from the Bible. What kind of church is this? You know what I mean?
All right. Now, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, that makes sense. You're still underage.
Or like if you had a child by a baby mom, you know what I mean?
I got you.
But it stay with the baby mom.
Yeah.
But you every time he come visit you on the summer or something, it might be on you might be rebel with the world with him, cool. But when he get back home, you got to do what your mama say.
Yeah.
So even you gonna be schooling him like, man, just chill, you know what it is. You might even educate him, do this, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, you live at home with your mama, you honor.
Yeah, my son, my 14-year-old now, and 13-year-old daughter. It's crazy, man. I haven't seen them in years. But their mom was supposed to be a minister or whatever. So when I was seeing them, it's when I first got into the word, right? So I know it caused ruckus. It caused friction with them. But I was telling them, like, listen, over here, I know your mom do X, Y, and Z over there. But what we do here, I said, listen, I'm teaching you from the Bible, son. You know what I mean? We got to do this, and we got to make sure that we do it. But thus saith the Lord according to the Bible. So now, when you go home, I said, listen, me and your mother, we don't do the same thing, but while you at home, respect your mom. You know what I'm saying? I had to bring it to him like that. You know what I mean? And the way my son is, you know, he is real, like, start asking some questions, start saying some things like, you know, well, Daddy said this. I could imagine. You know what I mean? All the way up to the point where, you know, where it's like to the point where I'm not seeing them. You know what I mean? Just try to cut ties and everything, all type of everything. No talking, no nothing. You know what I mean? Because although I wasn't telling them to just straight up reject what your mother is doing, I was telling them like, listen, this is something. What we do is here. We don't do, and your mom don't do the same thing, but respect her what she's saying and what she asking you to do. You know what I mean? And when you get older, son, you got to make a decision on which way to go. You know what I mean? I know that caused friction. I already know my lifestyle caused friction with the children, man. It's part of the plight. It's part of the hard plight, but it is what it is.
Thank you, bro.
You got it, brother. All right, if it ain't nothing else, I want to thank y'all online.
Closing out?
Yeah.
All right. Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father, which art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.